A news report is about to begin. Domestic mobile game company Bluebird has successfully secured an investment of 7 billion won. The investor is the famous American IT company Giggle. Giggle is one of the world's top IT companies. Its headquarters are in the United States. I seriously can't take this anymore. The nameplate on the desk reads, CEO Lee. Chae Jin-han is here again. With his back to the door, Chae Jin-han picks up a document. A voice rings out, Miss Soo-jin. Let's talk this over properly. Soo-jin's face turns bright red. How am I supposed to talk to a CEO who's a workaholic and has such a rotten personality? I've worked myself to the bone day and night, and you still treat me like I'm worthless. Then should we talk about salary first, Vice President Fu? Do you think money can solve everything? Chae Jin-han sits expressionlessly, clutching the document in his hand. Jiang Josian suddenly pushes open the office door and points at him angrily. Kid Zenan, I know, I heard everything. A cold smile curls at Jiang Josian's lips. You're really driving me insane. So what if we landed a 7 billion won investment? We don't have anyone left to use. Leaning back in his chair, Chae Jin-han says, why can't a single secretary last more than 2 months? Let's talk like colleagues. Jiang Josian slams a hand down on Chae Jin-han's shoulder. The latter remains cold-faced. Chae Jin-han replies expressionlessly, keep recruiting until we find a suitable secretary. Jiang Josian snatches up the file on the desk and slams it down hard. To be honest, I didn't like Choi Soo-jin's working style either. He lets out a soft breath. Hey, Chae Jin-han, do you know what rating our company has on job sites? 2.4, you bastard. Benefits and salary get a 5, but management gets a 1. Jiang Josian thrusts his phone screen in front of Chae Jin-han. Bluebird employee review rating, 2 stars. Benefits and salary, 5 stars. Company culture, 2 stars. Management, 1 star. What do you think that means? Chae Jin-han folds his arms. Expectations from management can be lowered, but the pay is good. That makes this a pretty decent company, doesn't it? Jiang Josian trembles with anger. You really aren't fit to be CEO. Who would want to work at a company like this? If it weren't for that face of yours, the industry would have kicked you out long ago. Chae Jin-han props his chin on one hand, lounging lazily. He crosses one leg over the other. Why are you suddenly bringing up my face? Jiang Josian leans in and whispers by his ear. Every time I think about how you use that face to lure investors, or when you nitpick ad models, your face has terrifying influence in meetings. Under the spotlight, Chae Jin-han is cheered on by the crowd. Jiang Josian's gaze darkens. Chae Jin-han, I understand why you're like this, but you know better than anyone that this kind of behavior doesn't solve anything. Stop obsessing over Miss Yura. Enough. With his back to him, Chae Jin-han says coldly, the secretary's incompetence has nothing to do with that. Don't bring up useless things. Pressing a hand to his temple, Jiang Josian says, if Soo-jin heard you call her incompetent, she'd rip all your hair out. Walking home, Soo-jin suddenly touches her ear. Why is it suddenly so itchy? Jiang Josian crosses his arms. No, at this point, there's only one way. Chae Jin-han turns his head. What do you mean? Jiang Josian's finger nearly pokes him in the face. You are personally going to attend the next interview and train the newcomer from head to toe. He retracts his hand. After all, you're the one who hired them before, and you're the one who trained them. Yet they all quit in less than 2 months because they saw reality for what it was. They saw the rotten truth about their boss. Am I wrong? I'm tired too. Jiang Josian sighs. Clean up your own mess. Jiang Josian's tone softens. For the company's sake, let's do our best. Pinching the bridge of his nose, Chae Jin-han says fine. Outside a cafe, Yang Dashi pushes open the glass door and the bell above it jingles. She smiles and looks inside. Xian, over here. Xian quickly walks toward a man. Brother, long time no see. Have you been well? Her brother replies, very well, of course. Resting her chin on one hand, Xian smiles brightly. I got the souvenir you sent from your last business trip. Did you like it? Yes. The waffle with syrup sealed on top was amazing. The authentic one really is different. By the way, where's Sister Dashi? Her brother's smile stiffens a little. He says she's too busy with work. Xian's smile disappears. Work again? Even today, we deliberately set this time to fit her schedule. Her brother apologizes for her. Yes, I'm apologizing on her behalf. Cradling his coffee cup in both hands, he says, to be honest, I hardly see her these days either. The wedding is only 2 months away. A trace of worry passes through Xia's eyes. Really? Did you two have a fight? Her brother shakes his head with a bitter smile. We barely even see each other, so how could we fight? We hardly even talk now. Xian looks confused. Has she still not gotten over her habit of chasing men? I thought she'd settle down once she was getting married. Yang Dashi is smiling coquettishly between two men. They say a leopard can't change its spots. No, I shouldn't doubt people like that. She must just be too busy with work. I heard her company recently got a 7 billion won investment from Giggle. The finance department must be swamped, so that's probably why. Right? Her brother looks at her gently. Of course. How can he be this easy to fool? He's far too naive. By the way, what did you want to see me about today? Xian pushes over a gift box tied with a red ribbon. This. It's a souvenir I brought back from my recent trip. Wow. Can I open it now? Xian hurriedly reaches out to stop him. But after her brother opens the box, a bottle of liquor labeled Love Potion lies quietly on the red silk inside. His cheeks turn slightly red. Thank you. Dashi will definitely like it. When I see her, I'll have her drink it with me. Xian breaks down inside. The timing couldn't be worse. She hurriedly gets up to leave. Be careful on your way home. Standing alone by the street, she says, then it's time to activate detective mode. Xian's eyes sharpen. She takes out her phone, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. No matter how I think about it, I have a bad feeling. On the phone screen is Yang Dashi's social media account. Yang Dashi, dreaming, love, freedom, and workplace Bluebird Company. Let's see. When was her last update? A photo of a yellow rose. Captioned, may the day come when my heart can bloom too. This isn't like Sister Dashi at all. She's a total social media addict. She only replied to Huashika. Looks like they're pretty close. Xian taps into Huashika's following list. Her eyes scan quickly. Found it. But how am I supposed to track her? Oh no. Xian returns home, and an older woman comes up to her. Did you have a good trip? It was okay. Xian collapses onto the sofa. Is this the Handsome People Circle? She searches Giggle's website for commoner heartthrob. Isn't this a celebrity? He's way too handsome. On the phone screen is a photo of Che Jinhan. The headline reads, Young CEO Special Feature, Meeting Pangio's Shooting Star, CEO Che Jinhan. Xian saves the photo. Looking like this, and being this famous, he'll definitely take the bait, right? She creates a new account. Jinhan, sorry. For justice, I'm going to borrow your identity for a bit. On Yang Dashi's account page, she taps the follow button. A system notification appears. Yang Dashi has followed you. It worked. Her eyes turn sharp instantly. Wait, you gotta be kidding me. She looks at her new account page. Followers, 23. Following, 23. She really is cheating. Yang Dashi, this is insane. Every post was made while my brother was away on business. Wait, what's this? Bluebird Cafe. Bluebird is the name of her company. If it's Bluebird Cafe, then is this an office romance? Xian clutches her head. This is driving me crazy. Has Yang Dashi lost her mind? She falls onto the bed, pounding the pillow. She's practically like a real daughter in our family. How could she stab us in the back like this? Sitting up dejectedly, she mutters, damn it. Now isn't the time. I need evidence first. She stares at the phone screen, her fingers freezing. I got blocked. Did she figure out it was a fake account? Xian collapses back in despair. I don't even have evidence. What am I supposed to do now? It's not like I can sneak into her company and spy on her. She suddenly opens her eyes. Why not? Xian sits upright in an instant, determination flashing in her eyes. Xian looks at a job posting on her phone. Bluebird Company is hiring. The position is secretary to the CEO's office. For my brother, what else can an unemployed little sister do? Xian makes up her mind. Yang Dashi, just you wait. Outside the Bluebird Company building, Che Jinhan sits on the interview panel, flipping through resumes. Next applicant, please come in. The door opens gently. Xian walks in. Hello. Interview badge number 32 is pinned to her chest. Wearing a confident smile, she says, I'm Xian. I will definitely pass this interview, and then I'll expose your shameless lies. Che Jinhan studies her resume. What made you decide to apply to Bluebird Company? 1,000 times repeated empty rhetoric. I've always admired the IT industry, and I really like Bluebird Company's games. An obvious, predictable answer. Thank you for your time. We'll contact you again. Rubbing his temple, Che Jinhan says, so boring. He loosens his tie. Only the last applicant remains. Jiang Zhouxian speaks up. You've rejected almost everyone on the list. If none of them are good enough, what are we supposed to do? Kidzenan remains expressionless. Then reopen applications. Jiang Zhouxian looks helpless. Wow, our CEO really is something. I knew you'd be like this, so I had the HR team notify everyone who submitted a resume to come interview. Pretty far-sighted of me, right? Che Jinhan shoots him a cold glance. Whatever, I'll handle the last applicant myself. You stay quiet. Jiang Zhosian shrugs helplessly. Fine. Che Jinhan's voice rings out. Next applicant, please come in. Hello, I'm Xian. Che Jinhan introduces himself. I'm the CEO of Bluebird Company. Che Jinhan, you've applied for the position of the CEO's secretary, meaning you'll report directly to me, correct? Xian answers calmly, yes. That's right. Che Jinhan scans the resume. I see you worked in an academy as a writing instructor. After graduating from university, I worked there for a year and a half. Thoughtfully, Che Jinhan says, this resume can only be called unusual at best. Let's see how she handles a difficult question. He lifts his eyes. Miss Xian, your name is quite unique. Born pure and clear, huh? The CEO is joking again, smiling. Xian explains, my parents gave me this name in the hope that I would live a pure, transparent life. The pronunciation is very similar to the Korean word for white. Che Jinhan continues flipping through the resume. Your major was philosophy. Xian answers calmly, yes. I've lived 25 years, which is only 1/4 of a 100-year life. Philosophy is the study of how to think about the remaining 3/4. Kidzenanesse, gaze sharpens. I see, but that doesn't seem to have much to do with the IT industry. Philosophy and IT are like two ends of spectrum. Have you played any of Bluebird Company's games? Jiang Zhosian tries to interrupt. Enough. Xian keeps smiling. The Steve Jobs of the philosophy world, Socrates, once said that recognizing one's ignorance is the beginning of wisdom. As for IT, I am indeed ignorant, and there isn't much overlap between philosophy and IT either. Therefore, I want to open the door to wisdom at Bluebird Company. The corner of Che Jinhan's lips lifts slightly. Not bad for a writing instructor. She didn't waver at all, but he quickly reins in the smile, his gaze sharp as a saw. But are you aware of this? A slyness slips in his xia and smile. Steve Jobs also majored in philosophy. Che Jinhan's pupils contract abruptly, while Jiang Zhosian trembles with excitement. Where have you been hiding all this time? We absolutely can't let this one get away. Solemnly, he hangs the symbolic acceptance lanyard around Xia N's neck. Jiang Zhosian clears his throat. The interview ends here. We will notify you the results by text and email as soon as possible. Xian rises and bows. Okay, thank you. She turns to leave, but Xian suddenly speaks. Excuse me, Mr. CEO, have we met somewhere before? Jiang Zhosian introduces her. This is Xian, who joins us starting today. This is our marketing department, the flower of the company. Everyone, please take good care of Miss Xia and lowering her head. Xian says, I look forward to working with all of you. On her first day, Jiang Zhosian takes Xia and around to make introductions. You must be tired after so many introductions on your first day. Xian smiles and shakes her head. No, I'm fine. Xian's thoughts return to the day of the interview. Che Jinhan's question made her heart tighten. Have we met somewhere before? She hurriedly lowered her head. No, sorry, I must have mistaken you for someone else. On her phone screen is Che Jinhan's social media account. 0 following, 0 followers. Just a single stolen profile picture. Luckily, I got this job by sheer chance. Xian recalls that he was the one whose photo she stole. I'm really so sorry. Jiang Zhosian continues. Usually everyone is very nervous on their first day, but Miss Xia and you seem unusually calm. Yang Dashi is startled and her body stiffens. Xian Jiang Zhosian's smile looks a little forced. Xian playfully blinks. She raises her employee ID. You recognized me from my badge, didn't you? Right? I'm gonna find proof that Yang Dashi is cheating here, and then make my brother break up with her. Xian walks into the office. Hello, I'm Anu Xia. Hello. 4 hours later, Xian is sprawled exhausted over her desk, completely wiped out. I can't believe it. I spent the whole morning introducing myself, and then had lunch alone with the vice president. I almost got indigestion. He's handsome and well-mannered. I was really worried at first, but thanks to him, I was able to eat in peace. Being an office worker feels completely different from being a teacher. Xian lies on the desk, drained, when Che Jinhan's voice suddenly rings out. What are you doing? Lunch break is already over. Xian jolts awake. Yes, you scare me to death. Che Jinhan folds his arms. We're starting the handover and training now. Get ready to take notes. Nervously, Xian answers yes. The final boss has arrived. Bluebird Company's work hours are 9 to 6, but I arrive at 7, so you need to arrive then too. Within 10 minutes of arriving, update my schedule. Don't transfer calls immediately. Make a list. Check it twice every day, 30 minutes before lunch and 30 minutes before leaving work. Xian screams internally. Look at his obsession with time management. This guy could compete with Kant. Can a human really endure a schedule like this? Is he a robot? I mean, just look at him. He practically looks like a model. Che Jinhan seems to notice her gaze. Che Jinhan's face is pale as paper, cold sweat sliding down from his temple. Is he feeling unwell? Xian speaks carefully. Mr. CEO, are you okay? Kidzenan abruptly turns around. I'm fine. Don't interrupt my explanation. He continues. Next is the computer manual. After turning on the computer, you'll see the company's internal messaging software on the desktop. Xia's fingers tap on the keyboard. Wait, the computer won't turn on. Che Jinhan doesn't pause. That software is used to share work matters and daily security codes. They're written in the handover documents next to the extension phone. Che Jinhan's voice comes from behind her. Miss Xian, what are you doing? Xian crouches down and starts searching under the desk. The computer won't turn on. I'm checking whether the power plug came loose. Che Jinhan looks at her expressionlessly. Once you've plugged it in, we'll continue the training. Pressing his temple, Che Jinhan lets out a soft breath, forcing back his impatience. One hand suddenly braces against the desk. Miss Xian. Xian is still fumbling under the desk. She finds it and is just about to plug it in when Che Jinhan's hand presses over hers, stopping her. He bends down, their eyes meeting. Do you know how important every minute wasted like this is? Xian looks up. The two of them are inches apart, close enough to hear each other's breathing. He murmurs, should I put it in? Now. Xian startles. Kidzenanesse cheeks flash red. He looks away, his Adam's apple bobbing. Xian hurriedly apologizes. Sorry. I thought I could just plug it in directly. Kidzenan pulse back. We'll stop here for today. Handover is paused. He turns toward the door. We'll continue tomorrow. Have the tech team set everything up in advance. Xian replies blankly, yes. We still have to continue tomorrow. He's really sensitive and picky. Is he acting like this because he doesn't feel well? Suddenly, Xian hears a loud bang. She looks toward the door in alarm. Xian rushes over. CEO, are you all right? Che Jinhan forces himself to stay upright. Sorry, my hand suddenly lost strength. Xian finds it hard to believe. His hand suddenly lost strength? Che Jinhan hands her the broken tablet. Take this to the tech team. They'll replace it with a new one. He adds, also from now on, knock before coming in. Taking the tablet, Xian quickly apologizes. Yes, sorry. She turns to leave. He has no idea how much other people worry about him. Then a laugh rings out. Shanyu, you're so funny. Xian stops in her tracks. That familiar voice. She peeks around the corner and sees a man sitting intimately with Yang Dashi. So it really is Yang Dashi. Xian's gaze sharpens. Are you the protagonist of some sweet love story? The man is Lu Shanyu from the development team. A voice sounds behind her. Xian, are you a corporate spy? Xian nearly jumps out her skin. Vice President, hello. Jiang Zhouxian smiles. Xian, you're really interesting. Why are you spying on Dashi here? I've been caught red-handed. Jiang Zhouxian smiles brightly. Could it be because of Lu Shanyu from the development team? Are you interested in him? Xian panics. What? No. The CEO dropped his tablet, and I was taking it to him. I ended up getting lost. Jiang Zhouxian's smile freezes. The CEO? Kid Zenon. He actually dropped something? That's rare. He reaches out. Give me the tablet. I'll return it. Then Jiang Zhouxian says, oh, Xian, wait. Tonight is Xian's welcome dinner. Standing in the middle of the office, Jiang Zhouxian makes the announcement loudly. As usual, attendance is completely voluntary. Today's menu is beef. You all know what that means. Free beef tastes best, right? One employee complains, Vice President, you can't bribe us with beef and then pile on this much work. Jiang Zhouxian pats him on the shoulder. All right. We leave on time today. By the authority vested in me as Vice President, I approve it. Raising his arm, he calls out, all right, everyone. After work, let's meet at low-pressure beef restaurant. The office erupts in cheers. Where are we going? The barbecue restaurant is buzzing with voices. Colleagues sit around the table together, the atmosphere lively. Jiang Zhouxian raises his glass. Cheers, everyone. To Xian staying with us for a long time. Glasses clink crisply. Cheers. So low-pressure beef is the name of the restaurant. Xian finally understands. Jiang Zhouxian pours her a drink. Shanyu, really? Lu Shanyu and Yang Dashi sit together, acting close. Does that look like someone who's about to get married? People's true feelings are easiest to expose at the dinner table. Xian's gaze turns cold. Hurry up and show your true colors. Young Duxi. Damn, I've been staring too long. Xian snaps back to herself. The tongs are here. She reaches for them, but Jiang Zhouxian's hand grabs them first. I'll grill the meat. Give me the tongs. Xian feels a little awkward. No. Vice President, I'm the newcomer here. Jiang Zhouxian smiles as he takes the tongs. Don't be like that. Today, you're the star. Just eat. Xian nods slightly. Thank you. With a confident smile, Jiang Zhouxian says, I've grilled every kind of meat here countless times. He expertly flips the meat. Leave it to a professional. What exactly is up with this guy? He's this handsome, so at least his personality should be a little worse. Meanwhile, Che Jinhan sits alone in the office, irritably tapping away at his keyboard. Eat more. Xian Jiang Zhouxian places the grilled meat into Xia's bowl. Oh, thank you. Wow, it's really delicious. Xia's eyes light up. The meat is juicy and not tough at all. Vice President, you're really an expert. Jiang Zhouxian grins proudly. I told you so. A female colleague speaks up. Aren't you giving Xian a bit too much? That's a little unfair, you know. Jiang Zhouxian doesn't hide it at all. So what if I'm a little biased? Xian is a very valuable talent. He really says nice things. To avoid treating any employee differently, from now on, I'll grill meat for everyone. Jiang Zhouxian raises the tongs and scissors like a child, making a declaration. Everyone seems close with the vice president. No one even asks why the CEO didn't come. Che Jinhan's image floats through her mind. What a waste of time. It's all just wasting time. So everyone is avoiding him. Xian's eyes dim. But still, he didn't look very well earlier either. Xian recalls Che Jinhan's pale face. He didn't even come to the company dinner. Did he not eat at all? Jiang Zhouxian notices her expression. Xian, where are you going? Xian stands up. The CEO doesn't seem to have eaten yet. With an apologetic smile, she says, Sorry, I'll be gone for a little while. Xian's sense of humanity is still shining brightly. She returns to the company building and knocks on the CEO's office door. Guomein. She pushes the door open. Che Jinhan is sitting behind his desk. Xian walks in carrying a bag. She sets it down on the desk and asks softly, CEO, you haven't eaten yet, right? Che Jinhan looks up. Xian, you didn't go to the company dinner? You didn't look very well earlier. Smiling, Xian says, I thought you might not have eaten either, so I brought side dishes and porridge. She sets the bag on the desk. Do you know there's a really famous porridge place nearby? I didn't even know porridge had famous restaurants. Xian opens all the containers. Okay, eat it while it's hot. Kidzenan rises. Xian. He tosses a manual onto the desk. Bluebird Company Secretary Work Manual. With his back to her, he says coldly, keep work and personal matters separate. Xian freezes. What? Che Jinhan turns around, his gaze sharp. Don't you understand? Xian, I'm older than you. I'm an adult capable of taking care of my own health. This is your duty. Xian stares at the manual he handed her. Don't do anything outside what's written in the manual. This manual defines the boundary between work and life. Che Jinhan's finger traces an invisible line across the desk. The boundary between you and me. Xian takes a sudden step back. Do you think boundaries exist to be crossed? Che Jinhan's eyes are cold. No, boundaries exist to be respected. Xian's pupils shrink. Xian, don't cross the line. Xian stands alone outside the office. His words echo through the empty hallway. What a bastard. Her cheek twitches, veins bulging at her temple. I acted out of kindness, and all I got in return was, don't cross the line. He only sees the line he's drawn himself and completely ignores other people's goodwill. Xian remembers how she used to be, always worrying about anyone who might feel left out. She grits her teeth and endures it. My goal is completely different. I can't let that kind of man ruin my brother's wedding. Xian takes a deep breath and forces herself to calm down. The line of her profile is taut. Someday, I'll get you back for this. Kid Zenon. The next morning, sunlight spills across the front of the company building. Xian walks into the office. Sitting at her desk, her eyes fall on a file on the computer screen. What file is this? It's called CEO Che Jinhan Work Guide. Is this the handover document left by the previous person? Xian moves the mouse and double-clicks to open the file. A document pops up on screen. If you're reading this, that means I've already left Bluebird Company. Sorry I couldn't hand over face-to-face. I wrote down these work tips. Hope they help. First tip, run away as soon as possible. Xian's smile freezes on her face. What the hell is this? It's only my second day, and I already relate. What am I supposed to do? If you wear a short skirt or revealing clothes, he'll act like you're invisible. If he stares at you, shut up. If you see an employee coming out of the office looking crushed, pretend you didn't notice. Never talk back. He's a complete, obsessive-compulsive freak. Even if you do well, don't expect praise. That's just the baseline. I walk straight into a sweatshop. Xian slumps in the chair. Che Jinhan's voice comes from behind her. What are you doing? Xian leaps to her feet. You're here, CEO. Che Jinhan walks into the office without looking back. Update my schedule in 10 minutes. Yes, CEO. After reading that obsessive-compulsive guide, I'm even more nervous. Xian clutches the file with trembling hands. I can do this. I definitely can. Just thinking about how he completely ignored me yesterday makes me furious. But I have to hold on. This is work. Xian walks into the office carrying the schedule board. Che Jinhan sits behind the desk. At 10, a progress meeting with the development team. At 11, a conference call with the client company. At 2 p.m., a meeting with Giggle Korea's content director, Ms. Song Yura. Che Jinhan looks at the tablet. The schedule is packed. Che Jinhan adds, the 2 p.m. meeting is outside the office. Xian, you should prepare too. Xian nods. Okay, understood. The office door closes. Xian leans tiredly against the wall. Of all people, I have to go out alone with that guy for a meeting. Just thinking about it is exhausting. Dragging her heavy feet, she returns to her seat and collapses into the chair. I don't want to work. Her phone screen lights up with a new message. Vice President. Xian picks up her phone. The message is from Jiang Zhouxian. And good morning. Did you get to the office safely? I'm listening to that song right now. A faint smile appears at the corner of Xia's lips. See, he really is such a gentle person. Her fingers fly over the screen. That's my favorite song. What do you think of it, Vice President? Jiang Zhouxian replies quickly. It's a very nice song. Unique and meaningful. A smile spreads across Xian's face. I'm glad you like it. I'll recommend some others to you later. Xian stretches, suddenly full of energy. Thanks to him, I have the strength to work hard again. Just wait. I won't let Che Jinhan find even the slightest fault. 2 hours later, Xian lies motionless on the keyboard. I got here at 6:30. I am exhausted. She lifts her head. Heavy dark circles hang under her eyes. I need caffeine. An urgent transfusion. Bluebird Cafe. A cup of iced Americano is set on the table, glowing like salvation. Xian takes a satisfied sip, instantly coming back to life, her eyes shining. Why does the effect of caffeine not even last 3 seconds? She wilts again in an instant and walks weakly toward the door. Suddenly, a hand grabs her arm. Xian, startled, she turns around. What's going on? She sees a familiar face. Sister Dashi. Yang Dashi stares at her sharply. Xian, say it plainly. Why did you come to work here? What exactly are you planning? Yang Dashi suddenly grabs Xian's wrist and pins her against the table. Xian looks stunned. I'm here to work, of course. You know that. Xian hurriedly explains, I had a fight with the academy director, so I can't go back to the academy district for the time being. Did your guilty conscience make your legs weak? Yang Daxi's gaze grows shoulder. Then why Bluebird Company of all places? Do you really have some ulterior motive? Xian shakes her head repeatedly. Sister, what ulterior motive could I have? I just saw the job posting and sent in my resume, and I happened to get hired. I didn't want it to happen like this either, but they wanted me to start immediately. My brother and my parents still don't know. Sister, you have to keep it secret too. Resting her chin on her hands, Xian looks up at her pitifully. It would be troublesome if I asked you for help, right? Yang Dashi falls into thought. She looks conflicted. Xian continues pleading, and please keep it secret from the people at the company too. The fact that we're soon going to become family. Otherwise, you'll end up in an awkward position for no reason. Yang Dashi folds her arms. Fine. She took the bait. Xian is secretly overjoyed. But it'll still be hard for you, right? Yang Dashi asks in person, after spending a day working with CEO Che Jinhan. Didn't you feel it? He's very hard to deal with. Xian gives a bitter smile. It's been seared into my bones. As long as I do my job well, there'll always be a way. Xian comforts herself. Yang Daxi suddenly tang eston. Actually, compared to CEO Che Jinhan, Vice President Jiang Zhouxian is more dangerous. Xian looks puzzled. Huh, he seems really nice. Why? Yang Dashi's expression turns serious. That's exactly why he's more dangerous. CEO Che always keeps a straight face, so there won't be unnecessary misunderstandings. But Vice President Jiang is gentle and kind, warm and sweet like cotton candy that melts the moment it touches your tongue. In short, he's made a lot of women cry. You're too innocent, so I'm warning you in advance. Be careful. Yang Dashi lifts her coffee cup. If you start thinking he might be even a little interested in you, kill that thought immediately. She raises a finger, her tone leaving no room for objection. A voice suddenly sounds behind Xian. Who's interested in it? Is it someone from our company? Xian nearly jumps. Vice President. She scrambles to her feet, knocking the chair with a loud clatter. Jiang Zhouxian stands there with an apologetic smile. Sorry, I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. The topic was just a bit too candid. My heart nearly leapt out of my chest. Yang Dashi turns and leaves. I have something to do, so I'm going first. Watching her leave, Jiang Zhouxian says, so, who exactly is this person who's supposedly interested in you? Xian stiffens. There is no such person. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like he heard the important part. Xian lets out a breath of relief. She looks at Jiang Zhouxian. He is gazing at her gently. City streets. Cars stream past under the bright sun. Xian's phone vibrates. A new message lights up the screen. Vice President Jiang Zhouxian, I brought some temporary materials over, but you weren't at your seat. Xian looks at the phone, a slight smile curving her lips. You weren't at your seat. Did you go out on business with Shinhan? Iswing que zenan irritability warning. Please stay alert and keep your distance. Xian quickly replies, it's not a big deal yet. I'll be careful. Let's have lunch together tomorrow. Inside the car, Xian glances at the man beside her, Che Jinhan. So that was Vice President Jiang Zhouxian? Yes. Che Jinhan's gaze sweeps over her, cold-eyed. You chatted with Vice President Jiang for quite a while. What did you talk about? Xian is briefly at a loss. That's a private matter. I'm afraid I can't tell you. Che Jinhan's fingers tighten around the file folder. The manual didn't mention this. Xian closes her eyes and gently leans back against the seat. Che Jinhan turns his head to look at her, his expression complicated. Xian leans slightly forward, looking straight at him. You're the one who told me to keep boundaries, right? A confident curve lifts her lips. Right, CEO? Sunlight glares off the glass curtain walls of the skyscrapers. That's exactly what I told him. Blinded by revenge, the words just came spilling out. Xian follows behind Che Jinhan, her steps slightly hesitant. CEO, do I really need to attend this meeting? Without looking back, Che Jinhan says, understanding the CEO's duties is also part of the manual. Xian's face turns pale instantly. Did I just end up with a grudge-holding man? The number 3 on the meeting room door comes into view. A voice sounds from inside. Hello. A red-haired woman smiles. I'm Song Yuna, Director of Content at Giggle Korea. It's a pleasure to meet you. I don't think we've met before. Xian bows slightly. Ah, yes. Hello. I'm Director Che's new secretary. Song Yuna's gaze sweeps over Xian, a smile resting on her lips. Director Che, you've hired a young and beautiful secretary. Xian feels slightly uncomfortable. Song Yuna turns to Che Jinhan. So the rumor that you never look at women is false after all. Is she sizing me up? Che Jinhan's expression darkens. Director Song, please mind your wording. His voice is calm and firm. She wasn't hired because she's young and pretty. I hired her because she's capable and smart. Xian blinks in surprise. Che Jinhan is actually speaking up for me. Song Yuna lets out a soft laugh. Is that so? I intended it as a compliment. If I offended you, then I apologize. The air instantly freezes. An invisible battle rages between the two of them. Song Yuna breaks the silence. Enough small talk. Let's discuss business. Standing to the side, Xian feels like she can barely breathe. Song Yuna pushes a document to the center of the table. This is the contract for the adaptation of the imitation mobile game. Today, let's go over the main clauses together first. Che Jinhan looks at Xia and Secretary Xia. Please coordinate the schedule with the lawyers. Xian immediately picks up her pen and notebook. Yes, the director-level meeting drags on like eternity. Xia and stands to the side, pen hovering over paper. She can't understand a single word they're saying. I just want to go home. Suddenly, Song Yuna speaks. Miss Xia and snaps back to attention. Yes, director. Song Yuna's gaze softens. I want to apologize for what happened earlier. Folding her hands gracefully, she says, please don't take my words to heart. I just saw that you're young and beautiful and got a little jealous. Song Yuna abruptly changes tone. So, how does it feel working with Director Che? Xian freezes. Bang! Che Jinhan's hand slams hard onto the table with a sharp sound. He leans forward, bracing himself on the tabletop. The meeting is over. The line of Che Jinhan's face is taut, his expression frighteningly dark. That look on his face. Straightening up, Che Jinhan says, Secretary Xia, we're leaving. Xian quickly responds, yes, CEO. Song Yuna leaves them with one last sentence. Be careful on your way. Song Yuna remains seated, smiling as she watches them leave. We'll meet again very soon. Kidzenan is expressionless. Song Yuna's smile never fades. Xian thinks one is furious, the other all smiles. There must be some history between those two. Outside the building, Xian quickly catches up with Che Jinhan. CEO. She gathers her courage and speaks. Thank you for complimenting me earlier, saying I was capable and smart. Che Jinhan keeps walking straight ahead. Don't overthink it. Xian stops short, her expression freezing. Kid Zenan speaks coldly. I just didn't want Director Song to look down on our company's employees. It wasn't for your sake, so there's no need to thank me. He continues, and don't express this sort of trivial gratitude over personal matters. Trivial? Che Jinhan turns and walks away carelessly. I'm telling you not to bring personal feelings into work. Xian stands there in shock. Trivial? She clenches her fists. Kid Zenan. Kid Zenan stops walking. Miss Xian, what did you just say? Xian glares at him. Expressing gratitude is basic human courtesy. It's not something you get to belittle at will. Trivial feelings. Che Jinhan's expression stiffens. Just because of your so-called boundaries? Xian grips the secretary work manual tightly. Do you think they give you the right to trample on my dignity? She slaps the manual hard against Che Jinhan's chest. Bluebird Company secretary work manual. If these few sheets of paper are the boundary between you and me, Xian's eyes are resolute. Then fine. Che Jinhan takes the manual. He looks at her with a complicated expression. Xian says each word clearly. Aren't boundaries made to be crossed? She turns and walks away, leaving Che Jinhan standing there alone. He lowers his head and looks at the manual in his hand. His gaze is unreadable. Suddenly, the corner of his mouth curves. A soft laugh escapes him. He casually slings the manual over his shoulder and lets out a breath, a hint of amusement flashing in his eyes. Xian's face is lit with a bright, confident smile, radiant and dazzling. She walks with quick, light steps toward the company entrance. For such a nobody, she's awfully arrogant. Watching her back, Che Jinhan's lips unconsciously lift into a faint smile. He irritably runs a hand through his hair, a bead of sweat appearing at his temple. Che Jinhan turns and follows after Xian. Che Jinhan's gaze settles on Xian. She's really a troublesome woman. Xian thinks, after what happened on Friday, I won't get fired when I come in on Monday, right? Che Jinhan works up a heavy sweat on the treadmill. Xian's words replaying in his mind. Gratitude and the feelings people express to one another are not things you can casually belittle as trivial. Just because of the boundary drawn by those few scraps of paper, you think you can trample on my dignity like that? If those few sheets of paper are the boundary between you and me. Che Jinhan stands before the treadmill, expression cold. The look in Che Jinhan's eyes sharpened. So aren't boundaries made to be crossed? His pupils contracted slightly. He slammed a fist onto the treadmill stop button. This woman was seriously difficult. Che Jinhan pulled up his t-shirt and wiped the sweat from his face, revealing the sharp lines of his abs. The gym door opened. Che Jinhan was still wiping off sweat. Done already? Jiang Zhouxian walked in. Don't you usually work out for at least another hour? There was an easy smile on Jiang Zhouxian's face. I came at the time you booked. Che Jinhan slung his gym bag over his shoulder. I'm taking it easy today. Jiang Zhouxian grinned. Tired already? Che Jinhan stopped in his tracks and turned to him. His eyes shifted slightly. Are you close with Xian? Jiang Zhouxian looked baffled. Why are you suddenly asking that? Kid Zenan esse, gaze darkened. I can't figure her out at all. She's not ordinary. Jiang Zhouxian smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Looks like you picked a good one this time. Kid Zenan frowned. What do you mean by that? Jiang Zhouxian lightly tapped Che Jinhan's chest with a finger. You've never been curious about what kind of person your secretary was before. The fact that you're this concerned about her means you may actually have hired the right person. Che Jinhan's expression grew even heavier. Jiang Zhouxian went on. If you train her well, she'll become a capable secretary. So stop being so harsh and prickly. Kid Zenan esse eyes sharpened. What did you say? Jiang Zhouxian didn't back down. I mean, stop acting like a hedgehog, sticking out your quills whenever someone comes near. Che Jinhan's face stiffened, as if he'd really turned into an angry hedgehog. Jiang Zhouxian's smile softened. It's been 6 years. There was a trace of pity in his eyes. I know what you've been through, and I understand it, but you can't stay trapped by that forever. Che Jinhan said nothing and lowered his gaze. A faint smile appeared on Jiang Zhouxian's face. Like father, like son. Jiang Zuxian anded Kid Zenan ha wireless sirbud. If you say you don't understand her, then start by learning what she likes. Give this a listen. It's not a bad song. Che Jinhan looked at the earbud in his hand and muttered a curse under his breath. Then he put in. A light, cheerful melody began to play. On the phone screen was the song cover art, a golden fish-shaped pastry. If he didn't understand her, then he'd start with the music she listened to. The elevator doors slowly opened, and Che Jinhan stepped out with his gym bag. Morning sunlight filtered through the blinds and spilled across Xia's bed. She suddenly sprang upright, eyes wide. Maybe I should just go beg for forgiveness. To keep my brother from being stolen by that shameless vixen Yang Dashi, I have to survive under Che Jinhan. In her mind, Yang Dashi clung to her brother's arm and called out brightly, Mom. A middle-aged woman turned around in delight. Oh, has our future daughter-in-law arrived? Yang Daxi smiled suetly. Mom, your braised ribs are the best. Xian covered her face in agony. The whole family had been completely fooled by that fox. There was no turning back now. That's right, this is all part of working life. Don't be scared. Xian clenched her fists, her eyes firm. Xiao took a deep breath. Then Che Junhan's voice echoed in her mind. I didn't hire you because you're young and pretty. I hired you because you're smart and capable. That was exactly the kind of thing he would say. Xian steeled herself. Fine, I'll apologize and get it over with. Worst case, I just get yelled at. Thunder rumbled and lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating Blue Bird Company's building. A handbook slammed heavily onto the desk. Blue Bird Company's secretary work manual. Xian's pupils shrank. It begins. Che Junhan's hand struck the desk hard as he leaned forward. No matter what, I'm still your superior. Know your place. Xian sat rigidly in her chair. Understood. Shall I get down on my knees and beg for mercy now? Kidzinan's spoke. Also, Xian lifted her head. I didn't mean to belittle your dignity. Miss Xian, wait, was he? Che Junhan continued, and I don't think that's something pathetic either. If I offended you, I apologize. A man was actually apologizing to me? Che Junhan looked away. Xian stood up and met his eyes. I think I was rude too. President. She bowed her head slightly. I'm sorry. A faint flush rose on Che Junhan's cheeks. He abruptly turned his head away and walked off. Come report the schedule to me later. Xian replied with a bright smile. Yes, President. This went much smoother than I expected. Okay, I take back calling him a bastard. Jiang Zhouxian's voice suddenly rang out. Miss Xian jumped. Che Junhan really apologized to you? The sun must have risen in the west. Startled, she spun around. Vice President, please don't scare people like that. Jiang Zhouxian rubbed the back of his neck. Sorry, I didn't think I'd frighten you. Xian told him everything that had just happened. After listening, Jiang Zhouxian's face lit up. Wow, really? I knew it. Miss Xian, you really are amazing. He smiled and winked. Miss Xian, you might be the most legendary secretary I've ever seen. Xian looked puzzled. Is that supposed to be a compliment? Jiang Zhouxian answered with exaggerated enthusiasm. Of course. If word got out that Che Junhan apologized first, you'd probably have your own fan club. He added, and I would definitely be the president of it. But then Xian's expression turned serious. You know, everything has a reason, right? Jiang Zhouxian's smile became meaningful. The way Che Junhan keeps people at a distance, all prickly like that. It's like the ending of a complicated story. I've never asked this of anyone before. You seem like a good person. I sincerely hope you can understand. Xian listened quietly, a trace of confusion in her eyes. Jiang Zhouxian's voice lowered. I hope you can understand. There's a reason he's so guarded. Che Junhan's figure appeared in her mind, standing among pale blue chrysanthemums, his expression stiff and eyes cold. Xian fell into thought. A reason. He had so many defenses I couldn't explain. He even deliberately drew a line because I took care of him when he was sick. In her memory, Che Junhan's face surfaced again, cold-eyed. Miss Xian, please don't cross the line. So in the end, there really was a reason. Jiang Zhouxian spoke again. So please don't believe those weird rumors. He ran a hand through his hair, like the one saying Che Junhan is actually a sociopath. Xian's gaze turned firm. I'll remember that. Xian smiled faintly. You have your own difficulties too, Vice President. I'll remember. Jiang Zhouxian's cheeks flushed. Junhan really does have a good friend. Che Junhan's low voice sounded from behind them. Thank you, Xia. He leaned against the desk. Being good friends is one thing, but the soundproofing here is terrible. I really wish Junhan would realize that. Jiang Zhouxian's voice came from outside the door. Well then, Xian, have a good day today too. Xian answered, you too, Vice President. As she sorted through documents, she thought, whatever your reasons are, I take back calling you a bastard. Her phone suddenly vibrated and the screen lit up. Che Junhan's voice sounded out. Being called a bastard is annoying, but thanks for taking it back. Xian jolted. Wait, no way. She stiffly raised her head. Why you heard that? I'm done for. Why hasn't the earth exploded yet? Xian walked down the company hallway. Setting that aside, what exactly is going on? From what I saw last time, something is definitely going on with Song Unit 2. Maybe I'm meddling where I shouldn't, or maybe I misunderstood. But once you've heard something, it's impossible not to be curious. Xian let out a soft sigh. What kind of past turns a person into someone who seems to have neither malice nor kindness? Che Junhan's back came to mind. Xian straightened up abruptly. HLO, Assistant Manager Lu Shanyu. She hugged the files to her chest. Lu Shanyu smiled. How's our top sweet romance candidate? Settling in okay at the company? Xian replied, yes. Thanks to everyone, everything's been going well. Lu Shanyu scratched his head. Haha, I guess I feel a little guilty. We barely spoke after the first day, after all. Xian's eyes flickered. What should I do? Since I ran into him, should I test the waters? She spoke up. By the way, I've heard a lot of praise about you. They say you're extremely capable. Lu Shanyu turned back in surprise. Me? Xian continued, yes. Senior Yang Dashi has been praising you a lot. Lu Shanyu's expression shifted slightly. Yang Daxi, are you close with her? Xian smiled gently. We greeted each other on the first day and found a few things in common, so we got close. Lu Shanyu scratched the back of his neck. Is that so? That's really nice. What's with that lukewarm reaction? Then Lu Shanyu suddenly said, Xian, if you don't have plans today, want to have lunch together? Xian looked at him in surprise. Lu Shanyu continued, I'm your senior, after all. I want to treat you to a meal. Xian smiled in reply. Oh, you really don't have to. Then coffee is practically delivering itself to me. I have to figure out whether he really is the male lead in our sweet little story. Footsteps echoed through the empty hallway. Then they stopped. Che Jinhan's gaze was sharp as a blade. What are you doing here? Song Yuna turned around. What am I doing? I just came early for the afternoon meeting. Che Jinhan's voice was icy. The meeting is at 2. It's not even 1 yet. He stepped closer. During lunch break, you sneak into an empty office and wait here? That seems a bit too driven by personal feelings. A smile curled at Song Yuna's lips. So what do you think? Whether it's barging in or personal feelings? She admitted it calmly. That's right. I did come for personal reasons. I wanted to ask how you've been. The last time we talked like this was 6 years ago. Song Yuna looked at him intensely. Che Jinhan, I've never forgotten you. Even after meeting other people, not one of them was like you. I took this project because of you. I want to start over with you. Her hand gently rested against Che Jinhan's chest, fingertips pressing slightly. Jinhan, don't you miss me too? Che Jinhan's eyes turned cold. Please don't touch me inappropriately. He knocked Song Yuna's hand away at once. In a 7 billion won project, you've invested far too much personal emotion. Frankly, your judgment has become so clouded that it makes me question whether you're qualified to be in charge. Song Yuna stared at him in disbelief. A lapse in judgment? We haven't even started yet. She clasped her hands together. Something like that could never happen. Che Jinhan grabbed his own tie and glared at her. You should think about what you did to me. To me, you were the final fatal blow. Father, why? I swore I'd never live like you. You were the one who made me realize this world is a garbage dump. It's not worth expecting to become a better place. Che Jinhan, please open the door. Song Yuna is really going to America. Why do I have to suffer like this? I'm telling you clearly, nothing will ever happen between us. Che Jinhan seized Song Yuna by the wrist. Stop talking nonsense. Song Yuna's eyes did not waver in the slightest. She gave a quiet laugh. Now this is the Che Jinhan I know. Che Jinhan let go of his tie. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll cancel today's meeting. Song Yuna's smile deepened. Are you sure you really can? Ses pupilles shrank sharply. Song Yuna smiled with a trace of provocation. If you want your company to survive, don't you need my 7 billion? She turned and walked toward the door. You're too emotional right now. I'll leave for today. We can reschedule the meeting next time, right? Song Yuna stopped, then leaned sideways against Che Jinhan, her hand lightly resting on his arm. I'll contact you through your young, pretty secretary, Xian. When we meet next time, I hope you'll be a little gentler than this. Che Jinhan silently watched her leave. The sound of her high heels faded into the distance. Song Yuna walked out of the office with a smug smile on her lips. Xian was startled. Song Yuna's voice came from behind her. Miss Xian, how have you been lately? Xian replied expressionlessly. Hello. Director Song Yuna. Song Yuna's gaze swept over Xian. Why do you look so nervous? Did something happen? Xian forced a stiff smile. No, not at all. The soundproofing here is way too poor. I really wish Che Jinhan would realize that. The side of Che Jinhan's face darkened. Xian finished tidying her desk. Then you've worked hard today, too. See you next time. She hurriedly got to her feet and left the office. She didn't dare look back. Che Jinhan stood alone in the office, his eyes cast downward darkly. Night draped over the city. Quan Hojin leaned close to Song Yuna's ear. No, that photo shoot I did recently. Song Yuna closed her eyes. A faint smile hung on her lips. Quan Hojin straightened up. What are you thinking about that's making you smile like that? Don't tell me you're thinking about another man. Song Yuna took a sip of red wine, eyes hazy. Quan Hojin, you know that's crossing a line. Quan Hojin's expression darkened. No, I've been getting great reactions lately. That pictorial hit 500,000 views in a single day. Song Yuna remained unmoved. So, you're thinking about another man right in front of me. That's a little depressing. What is he to you? He leaned closer, one hand on Song Yuna's shoulder, his eyes probing. Song Yuna caressed Quan Hojin's cheek. My second toy. Amusement flashed in Quan Hojin's eyes. Then who was the first? Song Yuna's fingertip traced over her lips. Someone trash like you could never compare to. Someone exemplary and clean. Che Jinhan's face flashed through her mind. Unfortunately, I still haven't fully had him. Quan Hojin's gaze turned cold. Since I'm bad and dirty, then all I could do is pray that toy never ends up in your hands. Song Yuna set down her wine glass. Enough nonsense. Do your best while you still have the chance. Quan Hojin gave a low laugh. Scary. Song Yuna's profile was cold. Even if I have to torment him and take him by force, I'll make him mine. Xian, you don't even qualify to be my rival. In Song Yuna's eyes, the image of Che Junhan and Xia An leaving side by side froze in place. Che Junhan was mine from the very beginning, so naturally, the person who wins him in the end will be me. The sound of typing echoed through the office as Xia An entered a name into the search engine, Song Yuna. Search results popped up on the screen. Song Yuna, business executive, Gig Korea Company, bachelor's degree in engineering from Hankook University. Formerly worked at Gig headquarters. Currently serves as content director at Gig Korea. Xian rested her chin in her hand. Wow, she got into Gig headquarters right after graduating. She kept reading the news articles. Gig Korea content director Song Yuna, mother of Stargram. 6 years ago, she won a competition hosted by Gig Korea and entered the U.S. headquarters with an early social media business model. She was later appointed head of Gig Korea's content division. Stargram was Song Yuna's creation? Xian frowned deeply. How did an executive at a major corporation get personally involved with the CEO of a small to mid-sized IT company? The office door opened. Xian looked up. You're here, President. Kidzenan Wolktin. He walked up to the desk. Miss Xian, today's report. His words abruptly stopped. His eyes fixed on Xia and Miss Xian. A faint red rose to Che Junhan's cheeks, and he couldn't look away. Xian came back to herself and placed a hand over her chest. Yes, President. Somewhat awkwardly, she explained, sorry, I accidentally washed all my work clothes. When I opened the closet last night, it was completely empty. Xian gave an embarrassed laugh. From now on, I'll dress more plainly. Didn't they say he wouldn't even look at women whose clothes were a little revealing? I really didn't have anything else. Xian answered uncertainly. Right? Che Junhan covered half his face with one hand and looked away. Our company doesn't have a dress code. Whether you wear an oversized sweatshirt or ripped jeans, it doesn't matter. His fingertips touched his lips as he tried to steady himself. Xian quickly nodded. Ah, yes. He seemed unexpectedly kind, but then Che Junhan resumed his usual tone. Also, find a soundproofing company that can start work tomorrow. Xian replied, yes, President. In this state, he was still as rude as ever. Elegant desserts were laid out on the table. Chocolate cake and strawberry tarts gave off an enticing aroma. Lu Shanyu looked at the spread. Miss Xian, you really didn't have to buy this much. Xian smiled and waved her hand. You only bought me lunch yesterday. I didn't even get a chance to buy coffee. Actually, I wanted the cake myself, so don't feel burdened. She coughed lightly. Lately, for some reason, I've been craving sweets a lot. Last time I didn't get much information out of him. This time I should throw out a more direct bait. Lu Shanyu thought for a moment. Sweet things? Yeah, when work gets tough, you do need sugar. Exactly, especially sweet things. She looked at the black tea on the table. Come to think of it, this tea is sweet too. How do they brew it? Lu Shanyu looked confused. He clearly hadn't caught the hint at all. Xia An kept guiding the conversation. I'd like to hear more about the people at the company too. Assistant manager, you're close with the colleagues who joined around the same time as you, right? Lu Shanyu nodded. Yeah, first of all, I'm close with Dashi and Hyman. As for Suho, we've only had lunch together now and then. Another man's name. Xia An rested her chin in her hand, her eyes sharpening. I think Hyman greeted me before, but I haven't met anyone named Suho. Lu Shanyu explained, Mr. Suho works in QA doing testing. You should have seen him before. He's very tall, and his eyes droop a little. Now I remember. So that's Yang Dashi's type. Lu Shanyu lowered his voice. Miss Xian, this is a secret, but Mr. Suho. Xia An's eyes instantly grew alert. Could this be the decisive proof of cheating? Lu Shanyu continued. Mr. Suho and Miss Hyman are an office couple. In Xia An's mind, an image of the two of them embracing flashed past. She immediately gave up the thought. Forget it, he's out. Xia An leaned against the doorframe and sighed softly. I can't believe finding Yang Dashi's affair partner is this hard. Wearing a professional smile, Xian greeted him. Hello, Vice President. He greeted her warmly. Did you have a good lunch? Jiang Zhouxian stood beside Che Junhan, his eyes carrying a trace of amusement. He leaned towards Xian. For some reason, you look even prettier today. Is it because you're dressed as brightly as spring? Standing by the desk, Xian looked flustered. Thank you, Jiang Zhouxian. He gave a soft laugh. You didn't dress up on purpose because you had a date with Mr. Shanyu, did you? Xian denied it immediately. A date? Absolutely not. Che Junhan's expression darkened at once. Jiang Zhouxian changed the subject. Speaking of which, Xia An, the fish-shaped pastry concert is coming up soon. Xian looked up. Oh right, I failed to get tickets. I'm waiting to see if anyone cancels. Jiang Zhouxian smiled and suggested, I happen to get an invitation from an acquaintance. If you're interested, would you like to go together? Xia An's eyes lit up. An invitation to the fish-shaped pastry concert? Jiang Zhouxian nodded with a smile. Yes, I got lucky and happened to know someone involved with the concert. Xian held her face with both hands. Wow, such a valuable ticket. Can I really go? Jiang Zhouxian explained gently. Strictly speaking, being able to go at all is thanks to you, Xian, so of course you can. He took out his phone. I'll send you the date and time later. Xian answered excitedly. Okay, thank you. Che Zhenhan walked over expressionlessly and held out a file in front of Xia and Jiang Zhouxian. Xia's smile froze on her face as her eyes fell on the document. Che Zhenhan said coldly, if you're done chatting, get lost. Jiang Zhouxian stepped in front of him. Lunch break isn't over yet. Che Zhenhan's voice was icy. Miss Yan and I have work to discuss. Move. Jiang Zhouxian didn't give way. Miss Yan needs rest too. She's my secretary, not yours. Che Zhenhan shot back. Why do you care about someone else's secretary? It's break time, Jiang Zhouxian faltered. Xian looked at the two men arguing and carefully spoke up. Vice President, are you okay? She added worriedly, what's wrong? Your face is really red. Jiang Zhouxian suddenly covered his burning cheeks with his hands. He stammered. It must be because of that bastard. Miss Yan, I'll go work now. He hurriedly turned and left, leaving Che Zhenhan and Xian where they stood. Che Zhenhan bent closer to Xian, his gaze deep. The vice president really seemed angry. I didn't expect him to leave that quickly. The sound of typing echoed through the quiet office. Xian stared intently at the screen, fingers flying. Che Zhenhan carried his laptop to the sofa behind her, sat down, and began working. This is driving me crazy. Xian's body stiffened, cold sweat running down her back. The president is right here. I'm so nervous I could die. The office was filled with nothing but overlapping keyboard clicks. The oppressive atmosphere was suffocating. The vice president left work early, saying he had to attend the 60th birthday of a distant relative's grandson's wife. And because the president's office was under soundproofing construction, it was temporarily unusable. How am I supposed to survive until the end of the workday? A sly smile tugged at Xia's lips. Still, it's fine. I have my own way. Che Zhenhan's earlier words echoed in her mind. You should think about what you did to me. If you want the company to survive, then you absolutely need that $7 billion. Xian trembled slightly. Now that only the two of us are left, what happened that day keeps replaying in my head. Kidzena notichid ergaze. If you keep staring at me that openly, you're gonna burn a hole through my face. Xian snapped back to reality. Sorry, I got caught. Her fingers froze over the keyboard. Che Zhenhan closed his eyes. I know, you feel uncomfortable because you overheard the conversation between me and Director Song Yuna. And yes, that is why I had the soundproofing installed. Miss Xian, a cold smile appeared on Che Zhenhan's lips. Erase what happened that day from your mind. Don't even be curious. Stop using those overly curious eyes of yours to go poking around for interesting gossip. Xian's eyes instantly sharpened. What's wrong with my eyes? She suddenly stood up and looked straight at him. If anyone has a problem, I'd say it's your judgment of people, President. Is the office not being soundproofed my fault? If someone with normal hearing overhears a conversation, is that my fault too? Xian grew more and more agitated. I've already been trying my best to act like I heard nothing. But if you bring it up this openly, how am I supposed to keep pretending? Che Zhenhan's gaze stayed on her. Miss Xian. Xian refused to back down. You're the one who made me curious in the first place, and now you want me to shut up and never mention it? She took a step forward. Human emotions aren't light switches. You can't just turn them off because you say so. The two faced off in silence, the air seeming to freeze. Xian took a deep breath. Fine. I was staring at you because I'm dying of curiosity about you. If that makes you uncomfortable, I apologize. She turned her face slightly aside, avoiding Che Zhenhan's eyes. Che Zhenhan looked at her in silence, saying nothing. The office was deathly still. At last he spoke. Miss Xia's body tensed. Yes, President. Che Zhenhan's voice carried a trace of amusement. Why do you call me you? Especially when I have such a resonant title as President. Xian flushed bright red. Is this really the time to be talking about that? The corners of Che Zhenhan's lips lifted slightly. Miss Xian is right. So this is the only way I can respond to your nitpicking. He rubbed the back of his neck. So don't make that face. Xian's cheeks reddened. I wasn't. Che Zhenhan's tone softened. You worked late the past few days. Go home early today. But before you go, let's make this clear. What exactly are you curious about? The past between Director Song and the company president? Or Che Zhenhan as an ordinary person? Xian's face grew even hotter. Che Zhenhan took a step toward her, forcing her back one step. President. Che Zhenhan stopped and turned his back to her. Kidzenan glanced sideways. I'm not interested in gossip. Xia's voice came from behind him. I want to know the truth, but that's because I'm curious about you. not someone else. You, as an ordinary person, Choi Jin-han. I hope that answers your question. Choi Jin-han's throat bobbed once. It does. The faucet was twisted open hard, water rushing out. Choi Jin-han bent over and splashed cold water on his burning face. He lightly braced himself against the sink. I'm losing control. Meaningless emotions. Useless human relationships. I swore long ago there would never be such things in my life again. Water dripped from the ends of his hair. And yet I'm worrying excessively over these trivial feelings, shaken by nothing more than a mere secretary. Choi Jin-han raised his head. The reflection in the mirror looked cold. Water ran down his face as Xia-en's voice echoed in his mind. I'm not interested in gossip. I want to know the truth, but that's because I'm curious about you, not someone else. You, as an ordinary person, Choi Jin-han. Choi Jin-han bent down and submerged his face in the cold water, trying to put out the heat. I have to believe that. Believe that she can no longer seep into my life. Trusting a stranger is no different from drinking poison. Choi Jin-han shut off the faucet and braced his hands on the sink, his eyes dark and dangerous. I can't let her in. Dangerous. I can't trust anyone. He stepped out of the restroom. Choi Jin-han suddenly stopped after bumping into someone. Ow, sorry. Yang Dashi held her forehead and looked up at him. Hello, President. She rubbed her head. I guess I wasn't looking where I was going. Kidzenanese doft drifted. Yang Daxi from akounting. That woman who keeps clinging to people for no reason. He came back to himself and looked at her. Be careful. But Yang Dashi suddenly reached out and grabbed his lapel. Wait, President. Choi Jin-han's body stiffened and his pupils narrowed. He abruptly turned his head. What is it? Yang Dashi looked determined. I want to ask you something. President, do you use photo wall? Kidzenan looked incredulous. I don't use that kind of thing. He frowned. Why are you suddenly asking that? Ding! The elevator doors opened. It's nothing. It's just that you seem to have gained a strange fan. Xian stood outside the elevator looking at her phone, thoughtful. She waved. Vice President. Jiang Zhouxian's voice rang out. Xian, you're as dazzling as ever today. He smiled and added, don't forget, we agreed that once we're off work, you'd call me by my name. Xian's cheeks reddened slightly. Right, Zhouxian. She stumbled a little over saying his name. Jiang Zhouxian looked at Xian gently, smiling. Xian, a crisp female voice interrupted. Two girls came running over, waving. Hi, hello. Xian turned and introduced them. This is my co-worker, Jiang Zhouxian. And she pointed to the two girls. These are my high school friends, Yerin and Hyenjong. We're fish pastry concert buddies. Jiang Zhouxian greeted them politely. Hello, it's nice to meet you. The two girls' eyes lit up. Wow, he's so handsome. Birds of a feather. Seriously. Having a coworker like this is like hitting the jackpot. Xian smiled. The vice president is nice to everyone. He looked at Xian. I can't believe our concert tickets ended up being for the same day. This must be fate. Jiang Zhouxian turned to Xia-en's friends. By the way, since you're her high school friends, I assume you know a lot about Xia-en's past? The friends exchanged smiles. Of course. We know every embarrassing moment of Xia-en's life. Xian crossed her arms. Don't forget, I also have all your black history too. Jiang Zhouxian looked around. But it seems we still have a little time before we need to head in. I heard there's a nice cafe nearby. Why don't we sit there for a while before the concert starts? He smiled and made a small gesture. I hear the macarons, they're famous. Xian's friends' eyes lit up. Really? Let's go. Zhouxian and Xian walked side by side down the street. The atmosphere subtly delicate. Behind them, her friends whispered. Those two don't look like ordinary co-workers, do they? You can practically see sparks coming from Jiang Zhouxian's side. He seems really nice, polite, and not fake at all. The real problem is when that dense girl is finally going to notice. Xia-en's friends kept whispering. He's way more handsome than my husband. Another friend covered her mouth and laughed. If your husband heard that, his heart would shatter. Night fell. Xia-en let out a breath. I had a lot of fun today. She turned to Zhouxian. Did you drive? Jiang Zhouxian nodded. Yes. I drove. One friend cut in. My husband is coming to pick me up. Hyenjong and I are on the way, so we'll be fine. Could you take Xian home? Xian waved her hands quickly. What? No, I can just take the bus myself. Her friends leaned close to her ear. The world is dangerous these days. It's only 9, and it's already this dark. Xian helplessly raised both hands. I'm really fine. What's with you two? Her friends spoke in unison. Xian froze in place, startled. Jiang Zhouxian smiled and said, Would you mind if I gave you a ride? Hope glittered in her friend's eyes. A car drove steadily through the night. Xian sat in the passenger seat. Thank you so much for taking me home. Jiang Zhouxian kept his eyes on the road. Don't mention it. I should be the one thanking you. I had a great time today. After a pause, he said, How about next time we make plans again? You know, after work. Jiang Zhouxian turned to look at her, his eyes gentle. Just the two of us. Is he asking me out? Xian's pupils shrank slightly. A little flustered, she said, I don't know if that would be a little awkward. Jiang Zhouxian's voice was soft. You don't have to answer me right now. I don't want to pressure you. Xian opened the car door. I'll go in first, then. See you Monday. She closed the door and turned to leave. Jiang Zhouxian leaned out the window. Be careful on your way. The headlights flashed, and the car slowly drove away. Xian stood alone under the street lamp as the evening breeze lifted her hair. She tucked her hair back behind her ear, feeling strangely unsettled. Her phone vibrated. The screen lit up. A work email this late? A new email. The recipient was Jiang Zhouxian. Professor Li Zhangmiang's memorial service will be held at Sarankian Memorial Park. Friends and acquaintances are respectfully invited to attend. Xia's eyes widened. Che Jinhan stood alone before the floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the city lights below. In the night, his profile looked unusually cold. A white chrysanthemum slowly drooped, its petals mournful. Speaking into the phone, Che Jinhan ordered, clear tomorrow afternoon schedule. Also confirm whether Vice President Jiang can attend. Xian stood at the office door, looking at him with a complicated expression. Xian halted. President. Che Jinhan's back was rigid. He looked deeply shaken. It looks like he was very close to the professor. I should keep my distance. Che Jinhan hung up and turned around. Jiang Zhouxian approached from the front. You don't look in a good mood. Was that last phone call unpleasant? Xian gave a slight bow. Hello, Vice President. Did you have a good weekend? Jiang Zhouxian replied with a smile. Thanks to you, the concert was wonderful. With a probing look, Jiang Zhouxian cautiously said, ever since he heard the bad news, Che Jinhan hasn't seemed quite right, has he? Xian agreed. Yes, he seems a little out of it. Then Jiang Zhouxian shifted his tone. By the way, Xian, from the sound of your voice, I don't think Che Jinhan is the only reason you're feeling down. Jiang Zhouxian reached out and lightly touched Xian's forehead with his fingertips. Are you okay? Are you getting sick? Xian hurriedly waved him off and forced a smile. I'm fine. Just a bit of a headache. Maybe I'm coming down with a cold. It'll be fine after I take some medicine. She quickly changed the subject. By the way, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, you'll still be able to attend Professor Li Zhangmiang's memorial service, right? Jiang Zhouxian withdrew his hand. Yes, I cleared my schedule as soon as I got the email. Suddenly, Che Jinhan appeared behind them, his cold gaze sweeping over the two of them. Xian quickly responded, President. Che Jinhan gave Jiang Zhouxian an order. Vice President Jiang, come to my office. We need to talk. Then he turned to Xian to distribute these documents to each department. Xian took the files. Okay, don't softened. If you're still not feeling well, go straight home. A trace of concern showed in his eyes. Xian held the files. Okay, I understand. Jiang Zhouxian nodded to Xian. See you later. He followed behind Che Jinhan as the two walked away side by side. The office door closed softly. Xian hugged the files, her cheeks slightly warm. I always overanalyze everything he says. I even blush over little things like this. Get it together, Xian focused on work. She took a deep breath and held the documents tightly against her chest. Team leader, this is the resolution approved by the president. Assistant manager, this is the president's file for this week's meeting. The president said. Xian moved from department to department. This morning it was only a headache, but after making the rounds, her head was really starting to spin. Was the wind that strong the night of the concert? She pressed a hand to her forehead, her steps growing unsteady. Xian suddenly stopped, confused. Who put this here? On Xian's desk sat a bottle of medicinal tonic and a box of cold medicine. A yellow sticky note was attached to the medicine. I know you're too lazy to read the instructions, so just take one every 12 hours. Jiang Zhouxian said. Seeing Che Jinhan caring for someone feels so strange. Che Jinhan sat on the sofa with his eyes lowered. Carrying my ass. She looked like she was about to die, so I just told her to get checked out. Jiang Zhouxian leaned back on the sofa. Before she even said she felt sick, you proactively told her to leave early. Since when have you ever done that? If you were that kind of person, no one would call you a workaholic. Che Jinhan slapped a file onto the table. It's only because if tomorrow's memorial-related work goes wrong, it'll be troublesome. Stop talking nonsense. Jiang Zhouxian sat up straight. All right. If you insist. He stood up. Since work talk is over, I'll stop by a pharmacy. Jiang Zhouxian lifted his wrist to check the time. At the very least, I should buy Xian some cold medicine. Eyes sharpened. He stopped him. Before that, go to the design team and confirm whether the draft for this proposal is finished. Jiang Zhouxian looked confused. Now, without looking up, Che Jinhan said, go see for yourself. If there's no problem, approve it directly. Jiang Zhouxian turned away helplessly. Fine, I'll go check in a bit. He walked out, and the office door shut behind him. Left alone, Che Junhan unconsciously ran a hand through his hair. Where's the nearest pharmacy? The next afternoon, Sarankian Memorial Park, a black sedan slowly came to a stop. The car door opened, and a pair of polished dress shoes touched the ground. Che Junhan was dressed in a solemn black suit, with Xian and Jiang Zhouxian following behind him, their expressions grave. The three entered the memorial hall. Professor Li Zhangmiang Memorial Service. Standing at the podium, the MC said, "Guests, please be seated. The memorial service for the late Professor Li Zhangmiang will now begin." Xian sat beside Che Junhan, surrounded by other company employees. The atmosphere was solemn. She secretly glanced at Che Junhan beside her. His lips were pressed tight, his expression blank. What was he thinking beneath that heavy mask? A murmur rose around them. Several unfamiliar men approached Jiang Zhouxian. "Hey, Jiang Zhouxian, you've really changed a lot. Compared to college, it's like you become a whole new person." Jiang Zhouxian smiled in reply. "Haha, same goes for you guys. Long time no see. That engineering nerd who only wore plaid shirts is long gone." So they were university classmates. The atmosphere felt a little awkward. Should I make an excuse and slip away to the restroom? Just as Xian was thinking that, she suddenly froze. "HM, where did the president go?" She turned around. That group of people was chatting. "The weather's nice." Xian walked alone along the park path. "Where on earth did the president go? Is a memorial park too big? He's really hard to find. Should I call him?" He stopped walking and swept his gaze over the buildings in the distance. At last, he caught sight of a familiar figure. Found him. But why was he in a place like that? Xian hurried over, then slowed her steps as she got closer and stopped under the shade of a tree. What was he looking at? Che Junhan suddenly started and turned around. "Xian, why are you here?" She quickly explained, sorry. I was worried you might get lost. President." Che Junhan turned to face her, his gaze calm. "No need to apologize. I know these roads better than you do, Miss Xian." He started walking. "Let's go." Xian gave a slight nod. "Yes, maybe I shouldn't have come looking for him on purpose." Kidzenan suddenly stopped. "Xian." He turned his face slightly. "Does her head still hurt?" Xian froze for a moment. It doesn't hurt anymore. Thanks to the medicine you gave me. I took one pill every 12 hours and I got better quickly." Che Junhan's expression stiffened. "The medicine I gave you?" Xian smiled brightly. "At least now, I can recognize your handwriting." Che Junhan turned his face away, his ears reddening. "Enough nonsense. Hurry up and keep up." "Okay." Xian jogged after him. Jiang Zhouxian stood there with his arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Where did you two go together?" Xian hurriedly waved her hands. "And no, that's not it. We just happened to run into each other on the way back." Jiang Zhouxian raised an eyebrow. "Is that so?" "HM, forget it." He turned to Che Junhan. "There's an alumni gathering in Gangnam later. Sort of follow-up to the memorial." Song Yuna walked over. She smiled. "Long time no see, everyone." She nodded to Che Junhan. "Directoli, ayu." Then she turned to Xian. "Miss Xian, how have you been lately?" Xian's smile froze on her face. This woman had heard every word from last time, when he threatened the president. One of the classmates looked at Che Junhan. "Junhan, you should come too." He draped an arm around Jiang Zhouxian's shoulder and looked at Xian. "This beautiful lady is Junhan's secretary, right? You two should come along too. That place is famous, and the food is great." Xian tried to decline. "Thank you, but for an occasion like that, it's not really appropriate for me to attend." Jiang Zhouxian immediately said, "Miss Xian, if you're tired, you don't have to come. Don't force yourself. Just go home and rest." Xian was stunned. "I was just about to refuse, but why did he say it first? Why does that feel so strange?" Song Yuna said, "I was planning to stop by the office first anyway. Looks like we'll be seeing each other again. I'm looking forward to it." Song Yuna smiled and nodded. "Miss Xian, yes. We will definitely meet again." Jiang Zhouxian smiled and waved goodbye, but Che Junhan suddenly spoke. "I'm going too." Jiang Zhouxian looked shocked. Che Junhan's expression darkened. "Are you sure that's okay? To keep the company running, don't you urgently need that 7 billion from him?" Xian's eyes sharpened. "Do you think I'd just stand by and let him harass the president?" He turned to Jiang Zhouxian. "Then, see you at the gathering later." Song Yuna smiled faintly. With her arms folded, Song Yuna recalled his meaningful smile. "I absolutely won't let this go." Then a voice rang out. "Oh, isn't this President Che?" Che Junhan and Xia and looked over at the same time. Quan Hojin was standing there. He approached them. "Long time no see. Is this beauty your girlfriend?" Xian gave a slight bow. "Hello, I'm the president's secretary, Xian." Quan Hojin laughed. "So once you become a president, you get a secretary this young and pretty? Does your company hire people based on age and looks?" Che Junhan's brows instantly drew together. Kwon Hojin immediately waved his hands. Hey, just joking. Why so serious? He turned to Xian and spread his hands. It must be hard working under a guy like him, huh? Xian looped her arm through Che Jinhan's. No, not at all. The president treats me very well. He's had a terrible reputation since his student days. Kwon Hojin looked incredulous. Really? That bastard? At the very least, I thought he'd put on an act in front of his employees. Or is it that he has some unspeakable intentions toward Miss Xian? Kidzenanesse, gazedarkind. No, Xian straightened her back. The president is impeccable when it comes to work. If there's any shortcoming, then it's my problem. Kwon Hojin awkwardly scratched his head. Is that so? Well, I should go greet some other tables. He waved. Have fun. Che Jinhan folded his arms, expressionless. Xian maintained a perfect smile. The atmosphere froze. In a low voice, Che Jinhan said, sorry. You had to hear that. Xian shook her head. It's okay. That wasn't your fault. Che Jinhan's eyes shifted slightly. By the way, you lie without even blinking. He continued, I thought you'd be dying to curse me out. Xian's gaze was steady. That wasn't a lie. She looked him straight in the eye. I'm very satisfied working with you. President. The two sat across from each other at the table, the mood strangely delicate. The corner of Che Jinhan's lips lifted slightly. Satisfied? Xian immediately caught it. President, you smiled. Did I? Che Jinhan returned to his usual blank expression. Yes, you did just now, Xian said firmly. Kidzenan denied it flatly. No such thing. A voice came from behind them. So this is where you were. Jiang Zhosian walked over. Looking at Xian, he said, following us to a place like this. Doesn't it feel awkward? Xian replied evenly. Not at all. I just witnessed a rare sight. I'm very satisfied. A blush rose to her face, and the corners of Che Jinhan's lips lifted slightly too. Jiang Zhosian looked confused. HM, what was that just now? Then the goddess finally arrived at the entrance, radiant. Song Yuna came over in high heels. Her figure swayed gracefully. Why are you so late? Still as beautiful as ever. Song Yuna came to the table, her eyes passing over Che Jinhan. Hello, Jinhan. Then she looked at Xian. So you came too. Xian Jiang Zhosian clapped his hands. All right, let's order. I'll have a craft beer. Xian, can you drink? Xian looked a little shy. Not very well. My tolerance is average. Jiang Zhosian nodded. Then get her a beer too. The cocktails here are all pretty strong. He added, anyway, Che Jinhan doesn't drink. Song Yuna looked at Che Jinhan. You still don't touch alcohol at all? Kidzenan. Then she turned to Jiang Zhosian. Zhosian, do you remember? On that team-building trip, Jinhan got drunk and made such a scene. Che Jinhan's gaze turned icy. Enough. Song Yuna laughed softly. Why? Embarrassed? We're just chatting among ourselves. Suddenly, she grabbed Che Jinhan's wrist. She yanked him to his feet. Come with me. Jiang Zhosian asked Xian, are you okay? Xian came back to herself. Yes. Jiang Zhosian smiled. Let them sort it out themselves. Xian's gaze wavered, and she quietly asked, Vice President, what is the president like when he's drunk? Jiang Zhosian pondered for a moment. I want to tell you, but talking about the person when he's not here feels a little awkward. He closed his eyes, looking troubled. Xian pressed, is it really that bad? Jiang Zhosian opened his eyes. He might assassinate me afterward. Usually I have to restrain myself from hitting him. But strangely enough, women seem to really like his type. Women like. Xian muttered. Che Jinhan's face appeared in her mind, pink hearts floating around it. Would he act cute? Would he say, it's so hot, and start taking off his clothes? Or fall asleep leaning on someone's shoulder? Xian snapped awake. What kind of weird fantasy am I having about the president? She covered her burning cheeks with both hands. Vice President, I'm going to the restroom. The alcohol's hitting me. Jiang Zhosian looked baffled. You haven't even taken a sip. Xian, wave her hand. It's too hot in here. My face is all red. I'll be right back. She hurried out of the room. Xian, what are you doing? No matter how handsome Che Jinhan is, just treat it like getting drunk off the smell of alcohol. She stopped walking. Che Jinhan, you're the one who's mistaken. Xian halted. That voice. Was that director Song Yuna? Every time you see me, you deliberately avoid my eyes. Your expression stiffens too much. That means it's the president and the director. All of it proves that you still can't let go of our past, and that you're desperately denying it. Xian held her breath, her chest tightening. Their past? Che Jinhan shook off her hand. Let go of me. Song Yuna pressed on relentlessly, grabbing his wrist again. She demanded of Che Jinhan, how far have things gone between you and Xian? You always spout this kind of nonsense. Song Yuna's eyes were sharp. We were together for so long. Do you think I can't read your eyes? Stop avoiding it. She reached out and touched Che Jinhan's cheek. Whether or not you desire Xian, you belong to me. Isn't that right? Che Jinhan turned his face away to avoid her touch. I was going to wait for you to crawl back into my arms on your own. But don't make me want you even more. My patience is almost gone. Che Jinhan said coldly, stop fooling yourself. Song Yuna lifted ke zenanessichin. His eyes were filled with disgust. You think I'd ever go back to your side? I despise you. From the moment you betrayed me until now. Forever. Ke zenanesse pupils contracted, fury blazing. A cold sneer curved Song Yuna's lips. I think the one fooling himself is you, Che Jinhan. Every time you see me, you look away. Your expression turns stiff. All of it proves that you haven't forgotten our past, and that you're desperately denying it. Xiaoan hid in the corner of the wall. So that's it. They were once. Close enough to call each other us. Then what am I? Xiaoan's fingers slackened weakly. The keychain in her hand dropped into the silence with a crisp sound. Deep down, had she always hoped that it wasn't true? Song Yuna and Che Zhenhan turned to look. He raised a hand to his forehead and let out a long breath. I don't know how much longer I'm supposed to listen to this nonsense. Even my tolerance for your delusions has limits. Song Yuna's voice came from behind him. Fine, kid Zenan, enjoy what little freedom you have left. Her eyes were cold. Once my patience runs out, I can't guarantee what I'll do. Because now Xiaoan is starting to piss me off. Xiaoan ran alone down the rain-soaked street at night, her footsteps echoing through the empty alley. Jiang Zhouxian raised his glass. Xiaoan, why are you breathing so hard? Xiaoan was out of breath. I didn't. It's just that I think I heard something I shouldn't have. Jiang Zhouxian asked with concern. Zhenhan, did the talk go well? Che Zhenhan walked in from outside, and Xiaoan's eyes stayed fixed on him. He picked up the car keys from the table. I'm leaving first. Xiaoan hurriedly rose. Ah, President Che, you're leaving? Then Che Zhenhan cut her off coldly. No need. Xiaoan's hand froze in midair. Without looking back, Che Zhenhan said, I'm going. He disappeared alone through the doorway. Xiaoan and Jiang Zhouxian looked at each other. The atmosphere congealed. Night enveloped the city. Che Zhenhan's footsteps echoed along the empty street. He stopped walking, recalling Song Yuna's words. We were together for so long. Do you think I can't read your eyes? Whether or not you desire Xiaoan, you belong to me. Isn't that right? In Xiaoan's mind, one sentence echoed. Don't trust anyone. His eyes sharpened. Presidente, kid Zenan stolpid abruptly. He turned around. Xiaoan stood beneath the street lamp, looking worried. He turned his face aside. Why are you following me? Because I was worried about you. If you think driving would be too exhausting, I thought we could call for a... Kid Zenan stepped back. Don't come any closer. Xiaoan stopped. Presidente, are you okay? Damn it, please. Don't come over. Che Zhenhan's voice was full of exhaustion. This is our line. He clenched his fist tightly. If you cross it, he raised a hand to cover his eyes. I don't know what I'll do, because I've never crossed it before. So don't cross the line. Xiaoan looked at him quietly, her eyes complicated. Che Zhenhan's gaze regained its calm. Sorry, I raised my voice just now. He turned and walked away. It's cold out. Let Zhouxian take you home. This is the right thing to do. It should have been like this from the start. I was clearly keeping my distance. Yet an overbold secretary barged in anyway. Xiaoan's smiling face appeared in his mind, bright and warm. Che Zhenhan's figure receded into the play of light and shadow, resolute and lonely. Jiang Zhouxian stood outside a hair salon. Miss Yan, what are you doing here? Vice President Jiang, you rushed out so suddenly, you startled me too. He asked with concern, are you okay? Your voice sounds. She held back her tears and forced out a smile. Yes, I'm Fine. Really, I'm fine. He was such a good man. What a tragedy. I heard something went wrong after he guaranteed a loan for someone. The debt wasn't even that big, around 100 million won, and his child was still so young. What'll happen now? The real reason was heartbreak, betrayed by someone he trusted. Che Zhenhan jolted awake, cold sweat soaking his forehead. Curled up by the bed, his stomach churned. This endless nightmare. Why do I always dream of father's funeral? I've learned my lesson already. Thanks to him. To avoid repeating father's tragedy, I must never trust anyone. The young Che Zhenhan sat in a chair in morning clothes, his eyes empty. Che Zhenhan lay on the bed with one hand under his head. I understand now. Even getting into a good university changes nothing. In this world, the only things worth trusting are the numbers 0 and 1. A banner on the university campus welcomed the freshman, Humanities College General History course. Are you that famous Che Zhenhan, the one who got in on a full scholarship? A bespectacled boy greeted him enthusiastically. Looks like our group project will be easy. Nice to meet you. I am Jian Zhoushan. Che Zhenhan opened his laptop without even looking up. Let me make this clear first. If you're planning to freeload, I'll cross your name off the list immediately. Jiang Zhouxian froze. Wow, scary before we've even started. You don't even have the awkward innocence of a freshman. You're already famous. Song Yuna walked over. I'm Song Yuna. I'm not a freshman. I just transferred apartments. So that's why I'm taking first-year classes. Song Yuna confirmed. You're Chejin Han, right? She held out her hand. I'm glad I'll be working with you. Waist-length, straight hair. A sweet perfume teasing the tip of his nose. Chejin Han couldn't look away. More than her flawless appearance, the confident smile at the corner of her lips was what drew him in. He took her hand. I'm looking forward to it too. I was pulled into a whirlpool, captivated by a boldness I had never possessed. Song Yuna looked down at him. Chejin Han, what exactly are we? We eat together, talk every day. We've even been holding hands for months now. So why you still call me Sanbei? Kidzenanese breeding weekend. It's not your fault. I just still can't understand myself. Because truly trusting someone, to me it's like going insane. Song Yuna placed her hand over his. Then let me give you the certainty you need. Go out with me. Chejin Han looked up. I'm already tired of always being the one you chase, so I said first. Do you still not know how you feel? Song Yuna bent down and looked at him. Her gaze burned. Chejin Han's cheeks flushed as he answered softly, no. If even the future right in front of me was as hazy as fog, then what was wrong with going mad once and choosing to trust? I like you. Sanbei. Error code 400. Invalid request. That's summer. I broke the vow I had kept for 13 years, and the price was devastating. A social app based on tag sharing. Jiang Zhouxian lay sprawled on the bed. Didn't you say it was a shame that only friends could share posts? And you also mentioned a search system based on tags. Chejin Han sat at the computer, fingers sliding over the touchpad. I've been coding it as a smartphone app, not a web version. Jiang Zhouxian looked amazed. Wow, when did you get this ambitious? Chejin Han's eyes were focused. Development experience will look good on a future resume. I think it's worth trying. For now, the goal is to get it into the App Store. A sound startled Jiang Zhouxian. What was that sound? Was the wind just that strong? Or did a stray cat knock over the flower pot again? An orange cat poked its head over the wall. Song Yuna's figure disappeared at the end of the alley. His expression was cold and resolute. Did you hear? Song Yuna is going to America. She won a major global competition, so I guess it makes sense. But I heard that she won by stealing Chejin Han's business plan. Jiang Zhouxian banged on the door. Impossible. How could she betray her own boyfriend? He pounded on the door anxiously. Kid Zenan, pull yourself together. Say something to me. Chejin Han crouched behind the door, trembling non-stop, burying his head in his arms. Jiang Zhouxian's voice came from outside. You have to get it together. Do something. Are you just going to let her get away with this? Song Yuna was the one in the wrong. Why are you the one suffering? Chejin Han's voice was hoarse. Because I'm the fool who trusted someone too easily. The funeral hall was solemn, chrysanthemums crowding around the memorial portrait. A woman wiped away her tears with her hand. I clearly knew how I was supposed to live, yet I was shaken by a moment of warmth. His gentle smile in the sunlight, their clasped hands beneath the table, the intimacy of feeding each other bread. Every moment was vivid. This was the brutal price I had to pay. Chejin Han held his forehead as a tear slipped down silently. Xian called softly, President Che, I thought you might miss dinner, so I brought porridge and medicine. If these pages are just a line between you and me. She held out the document in her hand. Yes, that's right, but aren't boundaries meant to be crossed? Xian lowered her eyes. I'm sorry, I made a mistake too. I made you curious, but then refused to say anything. A person's heart isn't a switch. How can it just be turned off like that? I can't go any further. Chejin Han stopped walking. There can't be a third time proving that I should never trust anyone. I can't take that risk. If I do, the wound I've kept pressed down will completely fester. Night shrouded the apartment building, with only scattered lights glowing. Xian's voice came from inside the car. Thank you for taking me home. It's already late. It's only right that I take you home. I don't know what you and Chejin Han talked about, but don't take it too much to heart. As you saw earlier, he and Song Yuna, they have an unpleasant past. Whenever that time is brought up, he becomes very sensitive. Xian's eyes dimmed. They once had a relationship that could be defined as us. Xian spoke softly. Vice President. What kind of person is President Che? Really? Jiang Zhouxian turned his head. HM, Kid Zenan. He unfastened his seatbelt and suddenly leaned in close. You're really curious about him. I'd actually prefer it if you were curious about me too. Xian jolted. WH what? Jiang Zhouxian's hand slid down and lightly caught her wrist. I hope you'll be curious too about what kind of person Jiang Zhouxian is. Or rather, Miss Yan, what kind of person I am to you. He gazed at her, a meaningful smile curving his lips. I'm starting to feel a little jealous. Xian looked confused. Jiang Zhouxian met her gaze openly and spoke slowly. Miss Yan, if you're curious what kind of person I am, I'm from Jeonju, born in the year of the rooster by the lunar calendar, and my hobby is watching movies. He gave her a playful wink. Action movies are my favorite. Jiang Zhouxian leaned in a little more. Does saying that make you feel any more at ease? Xian snapped back to herself, her cheeks flushing. He glanced down at the time. It's already past 9. Jinhan said this afternoon that he wanted you to stop by. He settled back into the driver's seat. Relax. It's fine if you go in a little later tomorrow. He closed the car door. Be careful on your way home. Jiang Zhouxian was born at Changyou University. For some reason, I feel like I was a little rash. He watched her walk toward the apartment building. Go on in. Xian walked alone through the night, her steps a little unsteady. Vice President, she murmured to herself. The President and the Vice President. What exactly is going on with them? Xian clutched her head with both hands, her thoughts in a mess. One tells me not to get close. The other suddenly wants me to be curious about him. Who am I supposed to listen to? As she was agonizing over it, a voice suddenly came from behind her. Xian, did you just get out of the Vice President's car? Xian spun around. Yang Dashi was standing there, looking shocked. Oh my god, she covered her mouth. You're so loud, Dashi Uni. Yang Dashi folded her arms, eyes sharp. What are you doing here this late? Mom made some side dishes and asked me to bring them over. But why are you avoiding my question? Yang Daxi Bresset, you weren't with the Vice President this late at night, were you? Xian shook her head frantically. And no, that's not it. How many times have I told you to be careful? And yet you still. Xian said, really, it's not like that. I worked late today. He just happened to drop me off on the way. You know, I was on a business trip today. Yang Dashi narrowed her eyes. Is that so? How's work? President Che isn't making things hard for you, is he? He isn't. He just seems very focused on his work. Yang Daxi Rubet Her Jin Togfuli. That can't be easy for you either. Xian shook her head slightly. Is she mocking me? Xian waved her hand. You've worked hard too, Uni. Go in and get some rest. You should get going too. Yang Dashi turned and left. Okay, see you tomorrow. Xian, watch her go. Her expression grew complicated. I took this job to find evidence that Yang Dashi was cheating. How did my own life suddenly become this complicated too? She irritably raked a hand through her hair and sighed toward the sky. Everyone, just stop bothering me. Let me be alone. At 5:30 in the morning, the phone alarm rang right on time. Xian opened her eyes, not sleepy at all. Even though she didn't have to go in until the afternoon, she always woke up on time at dawn. Maybe this is what being an adult feels like. She turned over. Since I can't fall back asleep anyway, and there's nothing else to do this early, I might as well just go to work. Xian sat up. Her phone screen lit up. Today's scheduled briefing has been delivered. She tapped it open. Wow, even the president's schedule is this packed. Che Jinhan's voice came from the doorway. Miss Xian, didn't I tell you to come this afternoon? Che Jinhan was holding a cup of coffee. You're making me look like a tyrant boss. Xian stood with a smile. Good morning, President. Che Jinhan strode to his desk. And you're not wrong. I'm a tyrant boss. He suddenly turned around. What did you say? Xian explained. You told me to come in this afternoon. So why did you schedule so much for the morning? You have 3 meetings back to back. You need someone by your side. Che Jinhan's cheeks faintly flushed for a moment. Xian sat back down. Was I too blunt just now? President, when should we start reviewing today's schedule? Che Jinhan's gaze settled on her. Xian looked up. Yes. Che Jinhan set down his coffee cup. Instead of apologizing, I'll buy you lunch. He leaned down. Miss Xian, you can eat whatever you want. After all, I don't want to be a tyrant boss. A blush spread over Xian's face. Oh, okay. That sounds nice. She tested the waters. Should we ask Vice President Jiang Zhouxian too? Che Jinhan's expression darkened instantly. Jiang Zhouxian has plans today. No need to ask him. Xian laughed awkwardly. Haha, is that so? He was in a good mood just a second ago. What a fickle man. The clock hands pointed squarely to noon. Kidzenan wolkt ayad. What do you want to eat? Xian followed behind him. Pasta. There's a really famous place nearby. Let's go there. So he doesn't only like spicy pork rice bowls and pork cutlets? Xian's pupils suddenly shrank. Wait, that person was a man with short brown hair, leaning by the glass door and looking down at his watch. My brother? Why is he here? Could it be that he's meeting Yang Dashi for lunch? Xian instantly pulled Che Jinhan behind her, quick and decisive. Kidzenan lukt stand. Miss Xian, what are you doing? Xian lowered her voice. Shoo, keep it down. We can't let him see us. Che Jinhan's cheeks reddened even more. Seen by who? Che Jinhan and Xian locked eyes. The atmosphere instantly froze. Xian's gaze was sharp, as if trying to see through everything. Is she hiding from that man? Che Jinhan's eyes flicked past her shoulder. Xian was pressed tightly against his back, her body trembling slightly. What exactly is her relationship with that man? Xian clutched Che Jinhan's sleeve. Che Jinhan lowered his head to look at her. Is he a debt collector? You absolutely can't be seen. Xian stammered, trying to explain. And my credit record is completely spotless. But it's almost that kind of situation. I absolutely cannot get caught. Her eyes were determined as she gripped his sleeve tightly. Che Jinhan let out a faint sigh. I should have looked into your background more carefully. Xian pleaded urgently. After this, you can investigate my background and my credit all you want. But right now, please help me. She held tightly to his wrist. I'll shield you. Don't move. Xian thought, he smells so nice. I want to know what cologne he uses. Her brother looked at their retreating backs. They're this close even at work? An office couple? He lowered his head to look at his phone. When is Dashi coming out? The company building stood under the blue sky, its glass walls reflecting the sunlight. Xian bowed deeply. Thank you. Che Jinhan stood with his hands in his pockets, his tone calm. Later, you'll need to explain the whole situation clearly. Xian forced a smile. Yes, of course. Che Jinhan turned around. Then let's go. Don't waste time. Okay. He suddenly grabbed Xia's wrist. She froze. Her own hand was still around Che Jinhan's wrist. What is with this man? Xian's cheeks flushed and her heart skipped a beat. President, this is a little. Only then did Che Jinhan realize. Sorry. He immediately let go. The city's high rises stood silently. A notice was posted on the restaurant door. Closed today due to unforeseen circumstances. Xian looked embarrassed. She muttered softly, what do we do? This is the most famous place nearby. If we try to find another one now, they'll definitely all be full. Che Jinhan took out his phone. Let's see if there's somewhere else nearby first. Xian closed her eyes. I want to die. A steaming bowl of mixed noodles was set on the table, noodles wound around a fork. In the end, the two of them sat outside a convenience store. Xian gave him a grateful smile. Thank you, President. Che Jinhan stirred the noodles in his bowl. About yesterday. Xian looked up. What? Che Jinhan kept his gaze lowered. When I told you not to come near me, it wasn't because I hate you. Xian nodded. Yes, I know. Kidzenanesse gazes sharpened. How do you know that? Xian lifted some noodles with her fork. I know you're not that kind of person, President. After all, we spent so much time together. Sitting on plastic chairs outside the convenience store, the atmosphere between them became strangely delicate in the night air. Xian smiled and urged him, the noodles are getting soggy. Eat. Che Jinhan looked at her. Next time, we'll go eat proper pasta. Xian's eyes lit up. Really? You like pasta too? I also like pork cutlets and spicy stir-fried pork. Che Jinhan turned his face slightly aside. Thinking that men only like those things is a kind of prejudice too. Xian froze. Is that so? So you really do like pasta? Kidzenanesse cheeks tinge the red. I like Korean-style pasta. Xian burst into laughter. No way. What is Korean-style pasta? Since the president likes it, next time we should. Che Jinhan cut her off. Stop talking nonsense. Let's go. The city streets bustled with traffic, sunlight spilling across the tree-lined road. Jiang Zhouxian smiled. Xian, you don't start work until the afternoon. You're early. Yes. Vice President, did your lunch date go well? Jiang Zhouxian looked puzzled. Lunch date? Do I have such a thing? Jiang Zhouxian invited Xian. You haven't had coffee yet, right? Let's go downstairs together. My treat. The cafe employee called out the total. That'll be 9,001. Jiang Zhouxian was just about to take out his phone to pay when suddenly a voice cried out, Vice President. Jiang Zhouxian turned around. Shiqing? Shiqing asked, did you see the email I sent this morning? Jiang Zhouxian replied, not yet. Was it urgent? Shiqing complained, it wasn't originally, but the ad agency suddenly said they want a meeting this afternoon. Honestly, what's with contacting me out of nowhere like that? Jiang Zhouxian soothed him. The marketing department has it hard too. Can you sit down and explain slowly? The two sat on the cafe sofa. Shiqing flipped through the documents. After saying something like that yesterday, the vice president was acting as if nothing had happened today. The clerk looked at Xian. Hello? Your order is ready. Xian covered her face awkwardly. Thank you. This is so embarrassing. It was the vice president's phone. Looking at the phone in her hand, she felt a wave of pressure. The screen lit up. A message popped up. Accounting team, Yang Dashi. Vice president, was lunch good? The weather is really nice today. Xian's pupils contracted sharply. Wait, Yang Daxi? Why would Yang Dashi appear here? Could it be the main character of that Suida story is him? She slowly turned her head, her gaze landing on the man not far away. Vice President Jiang Zhouxian adjusted his tie, his smile meaningful. Thinking back carefully, he'd been suspicious since then. Yang Dashi had leaned close to Xia's ear. Did you just get out of the vice president's car? I recognized it just from the model. And honestly, Compared to President Che Junhan, Vice President Jiang Zhouxian is the more dangerous one. Was she only saying that to make me stay alert? Should I have been suspicious of the vice president from the start? Xian looked at the phone screen, which reflected her own face. Sure enough, there was only one way to confirm it. She suddenly clutched her abdomen, putting on a pained expression. My stomach suddenly hurts. Could the cup noodles I had for lunch have gone bad? Jiang Zhouxian's voice came. Xian, are you okay? Xian rushed into the women's restroom and locked the stall door behind her. Leaning against it, her heart pounded wildly. Holding the phone tightly, she whispered, "I'm sorry, Vice President. For my brother's sake, I have no other choice." The phone screen lit up. It was a message from Yang Dashi. She tried to unlock it. The password screen popped up. Swipe for facial recognition. Enter password. As expected, it was locked, and it was only a 4-digit password. She couldn't even make out any fingerprint smudges on the screen. Xian slumped onto the toilet lid. But I can't give up that easily. Only 4 digits. Think, the president's birthday? Or Bluebird Company's founding date? Xian frowned. No, if I keep guessing blindly like this, it'll never end. What if the phone gets locked? I need to start from, what kind of person is Jiang Zhouxian? The Jiang Zhouxian I have seen is... Xian's eyes sharpened. Wait, no way. Could it be that? Her fingers quickly tapped 4 numbers onto the screen. The phone unlocked instantly. The home screen appeared before her. It opened. Xian collapsed to the floor and let out a long breath. Vice President, I'm really sorry. The screen lit up again. Yang Dashi, oh, you changed your profile picture? Is it the cat your mom keeps? I contacted you about the corporate card limit. 3 people in our department have birthdays this month, and the staff dinner got moved up, so our limit might be a little tight. I've already submitted the approval request, so please confirm it. Hope you have a great day. Xian sighed in relief. So it isn't him. She gripped the phone tightly. But if even the vice president isn't the one, then who exactly is the real culprit behind Sweet Us? The moment her taut nerves loosened, her legs went weak. She staggered out of the restroom. Xia. Xian jumped in shock. Looking up, she saw Jiang Zhouxian standing not far away, concern written all over his face. Are you okay? Does your stomach feel better? His voice was loud enough to draw everyone's attention. So embarrassing. Please stop shouting. Jiang Zhouxian stepped closer. Then what if your stomach hurts again? Why don't you just skip work this afternoon? Xian quickly waved her hands. In no need. I'm fine now. She looked at the man in front of her. Vice President, you're really a good person. Jiang Zhouxian looked confused. Why say that all of a sudden? Xian lowered her head and apologized. I'm really sorry. I suspected you. I accidentally took your phone. The screen might not have been locked, and I accidentally tapped it a few times. Jiang Zhouxian smiled and waved it off. It's okay. There's nothing in my phone worth hiding. The password is just 0000. I only set one to keep it from being touched by mistake in my pocket. Xian looked at him. He really was a good man. The glass exterior of Bluebird Company's headquarters reflected the sunlight. Inside the meeting room, a growth trend graph was displayed on the projector screen. Based on the growth trend shown in the chart, our goal is to launch the product by the end of next year. We will proceed according to the current strategy. From now on, Bluebird Company's project lead will be transferred to producer in Jiangyan. Please coordinate with producer and follow up on the actual progress of the work. Che Jinhan closed his eyes and gave a small nod, as if listening to the report. Sitting across the conference table, Song Yuna said, "What a shame. Just thinking that from now on, I won't get to see you every week." Xian looked annoyed. Here she goes again. Did the president end the meeting this quickly because he wanted to get off work early? He's smiling. He called out. Xian immediately responded, "Yes, President." Che Jinhan handed her a card. "I heard the coffee in my brother's cafe is quite good. Go buy us some coffee. I want an iced Americano." Song Yuna added, "I'll have a low-sugar vanilla syrup latte." Her fingertips twitched. That was exactly his favorite taste. Xian took the card. "Yes, understood." Kidzenan spoke again. And Xian. Che Jinhan lowered his gaze. "Take your time." Xian lowered her eyes. "Yes." The meeting room door closed softly, and Xian disappeared from sight. Song Yuna looked at the now empty doorway. "You even sent your secretary out, Che Jinhan. What exactly are you trying to do?" Che Jinhan leaned slightly forward. "After our conversation yesterday, I cleared up one misunderstanding, and I realized a new fact as well. I think it's necessary to formally inform you. First, about that misunderstanding." Che Jinhan crossed his arms. "I used to think all the consequences were my fault, that I was wrong for making you my whole world, wrong for showing you my weakness. But that's not it." His gaze turned cold. "The one truly at fault was you." Che Jinhan clasped his hands together. "We were together for 6 years, and strangers for another 6. I once thought that being trapped in the past meant I still had feelings for you. but I was wrong. It was just self-pity, because the 6 years I wasted with you were too precious to throw away. Song Yuna turned her head. So, what exactly did you realize? Choi Jin-han looked straight at her. You asked me before what kind of relationship Xia and I have, right? The corner of Choi Jin-han's lips lifted. I like that woman. Xiao's image surfaced in his mind. Gentle, focused. He liked her so much he couldn't pull himself away. Song Yuna's expression instantly turned cold. Kidzenan leaned back. Stop acting like you understand everything. And stop bringing up the past. Song Yuna gave a light snort. Bringing up the past? Choi Jin-han, you really say strange things. Whether it was then or now, the person who knows you best has always been me. Kidzenan esse. Gaz is sharpened. No, you're just living in a fantasy, thinking it was some beautiful love story. He steadied his breathing. The Song Yuna from back then was nothing more than a sociopath blinded by success and ambition. I've been trapped by those memories for far too long. Choi Jin-han stood up, bracing a hand on the table. Now that I look at it, you haven't changed at all. Song Yuna's face darkened. Jin-han, my patience has limits. Choi Jin-han turned his face slightly, his eyes cold. Song Yuna's voice carried a threat. If you cross the line again, Afint zmail que zenanes lips. Lines exist to be crossed. The meeting room door opened. Choi Jin-han walked out. Xian was holding a tray of coffee. Ah, President, are you done talking already? Choi Jin-han took a cup of coffee. Yes, our conversation is over. Let's go. He turned and walked away. Xian followed behind him in confusion. Then what should I do with the rest of the coffee? Choi Jin-han stopped and glanced at her sideways. Only after saying it out loud had he finally confirmed it. He liked her. Xian's cheeks flushed slightly, and her heart skipped a beat. Like her so much he couldn't pull himself away. Xian took a sip of coffee. This coffee is really good. Choi Jin-han glanced at her. HM. Xian explained, President, the iced Americano you bought with 1 pump of grapefruit syrup. I know that was ordered according to Song Yuna's taste, but it still tastes good. Choi Jin-han's gaze fixed on her. Xian, his tone was flat. Do you have a problem with that? Xian quickly waved her hands. A problem? Of course not. Choi Jin-han's eyes turned sharp. Since you even remember my coffee preferences, I was just curious whether you still haven't forgotten me. Xian's breathing stalled. Choi Jin-han's voice carried a hint of pressure. Miss Xian, if you don't give me a clear answer. He closed his eyes and let out a faint scoff. I'll take it that you're jealous. Xian was startled. What? Jealous? What do you mean by that? Choi Jin-han looked at her flustered face. Do you really need to get this worked up? I know very well that Miss Xia and has no interest in me at all. Suddenly, a phone started ringing. Choi Jin-han glanced at the screen. Go ahead. I don't mind. Xian picked up the phone. Hello, brother? Choi Jin-han's expression froze at once. Brother? Xia Xian spoke from the other end. Xian, have you eaten lunch yet? Yes. Today I went to Dashi's company to have lunch with her, and I ended up seeing someone who looked a lot like you. Xia's pupils suddenly contracted. Xia Xian chuckled. It was only from the back, but I really thought it was you. Xia's voice turned strained. Oh, really? There are a lot of people who look alike from behind. Xia Xian's tone grew meaningful. No, it really looked like you. I almost called your name, but then I realized I was mistaken. That person was walking along while intimately holding a tall man. I saw the man's face from the front, and then I thought, there's no way Xia could ever land a man on that level. Xian gripped her phone tightly, veins rising on her forehead. Kidzenan raized abreu. A man on that level? I could hold a handsome guy like that too, okay? If that were true, I would have met him by now, Xia Xian replied. I'm serious. You don't believe me? Xian suddenly straightened up. If I make one phone call, the men who want to hold my hand could line up in a long queue. She shouted into the phone. Huh. Xia Xian's voice came through the phone. You're still as full of yourself as ever, little sister. At this rate, you should just change your surname to Bragg. Whatever. I'm hanging up. Xian was trembling with anger. Her one and only brother, actually. Choi Jin-han's voice floated over quietly. Miss Xian, are you some modern-day king? He paused. 3,000 beauties in your harem? Xian uncovered her face with both hands. This is so embarrassing. Please stop. Choi Jin-han's gaze dropped to her phone. Miss Xian, is my name in your contacts too? Xian suddenly looked up. President. The corner of Choi Jin-han's lips curved. Am I one of the 3,000 in your harem? I gotta hold your hand and even hug you without waiting in line. Looks like I owe all those people standing in line an apology. Xia's cheeks reddened. Stop joking around. He really is handsome. Her phone rang again. Oh, another call. Choi Jin-han's expression stayed blank, as expected of a king. Take it. Xian answered softly, yes, Vice President. Kidzenan esse, gaze darkened. Xian smiled and explained, oh no, not even a single bone is broken. I'm really fine. Yes, thank you for your concern, Vice President. As that warmth spread through the haze of my subconscious, I once found myself wondering what place I held among the numbers he had dialed. I once thought, HM, are we having a company dinner all of a sudden? A barbecue restaurant glowed brightly under the lights. Jiang Zhouxian raised his glass. Everyone, let's have a toast together. Mr. Kim Suho, after being part of our company family for 2 years, you'll be leaving after this week. Jiang Zhouxian lifted his glass. Suho, you've worked hard. Jiang Zhouxian raised a bottle. To Mr. Kim Suho's bright future, cheers. Kim Suho toasted him back. Thank you, President. By the way, this was supposed to be my farewell party. How did it suddenly turn into a company dinner? Jiang Zhouxian turned to him. Miss Yangdashi told me your last workday got moved up by a week. Because of schedule conflicts, we originally just wanted to do something simple within the department. But since it's a farewell party, it means more if everyone joins in. Kim Suho thought, in the 2 years I've been here, he never once attended a company dinner. But the president personally came to my farewell party. Che Jinhan expressionlessly picked up a piece of meat and put it in his mouth. Kim Suho wondered inwardly, should I feel honored? Or take this as a sign that he wants me to get lost as soon as possible? Kidzenan spoke calmly. I hope you'll work hard at your new company too. Kim Suho replied. Thank you, President. Che Jinhan continued, and please leave our company a good review on the job sites. Our rating has never managed to get above 2.4. Xian lowered her head with a small smile. I knew it. Yes, of course. Che Jinhan looked at Kim Suho. Suho, your strength lies in understanding the overall structure of games and their systems. I believe you'll continue to do well in quality assurance. Kim Suho smiled in response. Really? Thank you, President. Xian quietly ate her food. Che Jinhan's gaze landed on her. Xian looked at her empty spoon. I've already finished it. A full plate of cheesy corn was set in front of her. Xian's eyes met Che Jinhan's. Holding her spoon, she blushed. What? When did he notice I was eating cheesy corn? Jiang Zhouxian's voice came over. Is cheesy corn really that good? Jiang Zhouxian rested his chin on his hand, smiling. Do I look a little silly? No, actually it's very cute. Xian's cheeks turned even redder. Speaking of which, his gaze moved past everyone and landed on Che Jinhan. Yang Dashi swiped through her phone screen. Among the people following me on social media, someone is bold enough to use your photo as their profile picture. Xian froze instantly, her spoon suspended in midair. Jiang Zhouxian leaned toward Yang Dashi's phone. Wow, really? Let me see. Xian's face darkened. Who is it? Who would dare use Che Jinhan's photo? Yang Dashi went on. Must be one of his fans. Jiang Zhouxian sounded dismissive. Whoever it is, they clearly have no idea what kind of person he really is. Che Jinhan chewed his food without expression. Send them a message. Tell them Che Jinhan will personally come give them a private autograph. A sly glint flashed through Yang Dashi's eyes. Should I send it? Xian screamed inwardly no. A phone vibrated on the table. Xian jolted awake and covered her mouth with her hand. I forgot to log out. Kim Suho looked at her. Xian, was that your phone just now? Wow, what perfect timing. Xian hurriedly picked up her phone. Someone must have texted me. Her phone vibrated again. Another message. Your phone rang again. Xian Yang Dashi narrowed her eyes. This is kind of suspicious. Don't tell me. Che Jinhan cut her off. I was just assigning Xia on tomorrow's tasks. He ended the matter there. This kind of idle chatter seems like it could go on forever. Looking down at his phone, he added, whether at work or at rest, we should use our time efficiently. Yang Daxi's face stiffened instantly. I understand. Looks like I misunderstood. Sorry. Xian forced out a smile. It's fine. Jiang Zhouxian turned and demanded of Che Jinhan. Why are you assigning work during a company dinner? You can manage your own time, but let Xian rest a little. Kidzenan ignoredim. Xian stood up. I'm going to the restroom. Cold water ran over Xia's fingertips. Looking at herself in the mirror, she told herself, pull yourself together, Xia. If this keeps up, everything is going to fall apart. She walked out of the restroom. Che Jinhan was leaning against the wall, waiting for her. Kidzenan cuestionar. What exactly is wrong with you? Xian shivered. Why is my photo on your social media account? Che Jinhan stepped closer and closer. Now that I think about it, you mentioned something strange during your interview. You asked whether we'd met before. You used this photo. Was it because you didn't know that person was me? Xian's whole body stiffened. Mr. Che, you once told me, just this once, not to ask any questions. Xian lowered her voice and pleaded, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you the same thing. I hope you can let me off this once too. Please don't ask why. I'm very sorry for using your photo. I truly mean it. Che Jinhan's gaze dropped to her feet. Let me ask you one thing. He bent down closer to Xian. This secret you're hiding from me right now, one day, will it betray the trust one place in you? Che Jinhan's eyes were as sharp as blades. Xian met his gaze. No, absolutely not. Kidzenan don't softened. I sincerely hope so. He turned and left. Looking at his back, Xian called out Mr. Che. Che Jinhan stopped and turned around sharply. Xian met his eyes. Do you trust me? Kidzenanese gaze softened. Don't betray my trust lightly. I truly do trust you. Night covered the city, and the company dinner came to an end. Everyone get home safely. I had a great time. Che Jinhan reminded Xian, it's cold outside. Go home quickly. Xian replied with a smile. Okay. Don't worry, Mr. Jiang. You too. A man strode quickly towards Xian. Oh, Mr. Jiang? He stopped in front of Xian. Are you going to the bus stop? I was just thinking of seeing you there. Xian pointed ahead. Yes, it's just over there. Jiang Zhouxian said gently. Then I'll wait with you until the bus comes. Xian quickly waved her hands. Mr. Jiang, you really don't have to do that. He looked at her. Why not? Am I making you uncomfortable? Xian lowered her head. I just feel bad making you wait for me. Jiang Zhouxian walked beside her. You really apologize for everything, don't you? A group of students poured out of a cram school, their loud voices breaking the stillness of the night. Jiang Zhouxian asked Xian, you said you used to work at a cram school, right? Xian nodded. Yes, I taught high school students essay writing. Jiang Zhouxian lightly patted her shoulder. Teenagers aren't easy to handle. That must have been tough. Xian laughed softly. Haha, that's just part of the job. Jiang Zhouxian smiled. I'd say you were probably a great teacher too. Xian looked a little surprised. Oh, how do you know? He gazed at her. You look like someone who does everything well. Always so confident. Thinking back on it now, a student suddenly slammed into Xia and whoa, Xian. Jiang Zhouxian immediately pulled Xia into his arms to protect her. He shouted at the students, hey, be careful throwing things around. One of the students hurriedly bowed in apology. Oh, we're very sorry. Jiang Zhouxian looked down at Xia in his arms. Are you okay? You must have been scared. If something that big had really hit someone, what then? Xia's cheeks flushed. Mr. Jiang, she asked softly. Could you let go of me? Jiang Zhouxian hurriedly released her. Oh, sorry. I didn't think. Xian adjusted her clothes. Thank you for helping me. The electronic display at the bus stop flickered, showing the arrival time of the next bus. The two sat side by side, the atmosphere slightly awkward. A bus slowly pulled into the stop. Xian stood up. Mr. Jiang, my bus is here. Jiang Zhouxian called out to her. Xian turned back. HM? He looked at her intently. From the first time I met you, I was drawn to your confidence. I remember thinking then, I want to work with this person. That was also one of the main reasons I hired you. Xian smiled shyly. Was I really that confident? Jiang Zhouxian's eyes were certain. Of course. I felt it back then. His gaze deepened, a premonition that you would become someone special. Xian's cheeks grew warm, and her heart skipped a beat. Jiang Zhouxian gently took her hand. Xian, I want to know you better. He leaned closer, his voice low and sincere. I want to be with you through everything that happens next.